Chapter 51, Stirring a Pool of Spring Water. Du Jie did much more than Gao Yang and others imagined. Throughout history, there has never been an established old power willing to witness the rise of a new power. The cake is only so big, and the rise of a new power will inevitably shake their interests. Moreover, Du Jie stepped on their faces and dug their corners. No one can tolerate that. Justice and morality? It's all decided by those with the biggest fists. If it was only Du Jie alone, the concerns of Gao Yang and others would indeed be valid. No matter how strong his personal martial arts skills were, he would not be able to resist the entire world. Du Jie could kill 1 expert, 2 experts, but it would be limited to that. Once the 3 gates and 5 sects reacted, he alone would not be able to protect the peacekeeping gang. If the peacekeeping gang disbanded, Liuyang City would fall into chaos. At that time, his foundation would crumble, his personal attributes would decline, and he would become powerless to turn the situation around, eventually being eliminated. But with Feng Zhong, it would be different. The tongue of right and wrong could perfectly stir up the entire martial world, preventing the 3 gates and 5 sects from having the time to deal with him. Du Jie firmly believed that if he was given enough time, he would have the opportunity to defeat the 3 gates and 5 sects one by one. As long as the peacekeeping gang swallowed the assets of 1 or 2 major sects, no one in this world would be able to shake his position. Therefore, as soon as Liuyang City stabilized, Du Jie instructed Feng Zhong to write many rumors and send them to various sects. The Sushan sect and Bloodblade sect intend to attack the Central Plains and seize the martial saint's inheritance. The Yimei sect may have a spy. The nameless ancestor of the Taishan sect fell on Huashan, suspected to have left behind a copy of the returning bird sword technique, which was accidentally discovered by the first disciple of the Huashan sect. The second disciple of the Kunlun sect discovered a mysterious inscription in the hidden scriptures cave, which was left by the Kunlun old man and is said to have mastered all martial arts in the world. The eldest son of the Azure Dragon Gang's gang leader bears a striking resemblance to the Beggars Sect's gang leader, suspected to be the illegitimate child of the Beggars Sect's gang leader Xia Linier. The Yimei sect's golden summit now has a 1,000-year-old blood ginseng, which can increase one's martial arts power by 100 years. Tong Shihong of the Divine Fist sect visited the Chiao family and took away the 36 styles of flowers, which contains the Divine Fist sect's martial Saint Chiao's late comprehension of the Yin-Yang scripture. Spreading rumors is easy, but debunking them is difficult. In the past, these rumors that were fabricated out of thin air would at most make people laugh and not cause any waves. But with Feng Zhong's tongue of right and wrong, the information he spread, once received by the parties involved, would definitely be verified. Feng Zhong enjoyed spreading rumors. After sending out the letters, he happily waited for the benefits every day. Just like Wang San, he also felt fortunate to have met Feng Qi. Manipulating this keyword was indeed very discreet, but it was not easy to succeed. After all, once the major forces in the martial world successfully debunked the rumors, they would inevitably investigate the rumor monger. Just like when he manipulated the right and wrong between the Feng family and the Iron Palm gang, he immediately ran away. Both sides involved in the manipulation, regardless of who benefited or suffered, would remember him as the instigator. Moreover, the tongue of right and wrong needed him to personally spread the rumors. Writing letters and publishing announcements were the most reliable methods. If he had to personally provoke face-to-face, he would probably be caught on the spot. Writing letters would not withstand investigation. But with Feng Qi protection, it would be different. Even if he stirred up the entire martial world, there would be no danger. With Feng Qi in front, even if the sky collapsed, he would have nothing to worry about as long as Feng Qi was alive. After sending Gao Yang and others away, Du Jie and the other 2 sources of evil entered a leisurely time to enjoy life, drinking tea, practicing martial arts, and investigating the heavenly demon around them, quietly waiting for chaos to erupt in the martial world. In ancient times, travel was slow and distances were far, so it took time for information to ferment and spread. 2 days later, Liuyang City. Chu Muqian, dressed in ordinary coarse clothes, sat on a roadside stall eating noodles with an ordinary-looking old man. She obviously had no appetite, picking up a few strands of noodles and putting them back without putting them in her mouth. She frequently looked around, her brows furrowed. She successfully invited Tong Shihong to come, but the situation in Liuyang City after her return was obviously different from what she had imagined. She didn't understand how, in just 3 days, Feng Qi had caused so much trouble. Not only was her younger brother abducted, but even the glutton had appeared. Muqian, calm your heart. Once your heart is in chaos, you won't be able to accomplish anything. The old man across from her carefully savored the bowl of ordinary noodles, calmly saying, "Eat noodles. Martial artists must always ensure their physical strength." "Okay." Chu Muqian responded, lowered her head to eat a few bites of noodles, and couldn't help but raise her head again. "Uncle Tong, aren't you angry at all? Feng Qi killed Officer He. The person who killed me and splashed dirty water on my face, of course I'm angry." Tong Shihong was like a simple old farmer, using chopsticks to mix the noodles and gravy together. "But the angrier you are, the more you can't act recklessly. Know yourself and know your enemy, and you will never be defeated. Whether it's a threat or a temptation, Feng Qi has created such a big reputation in just a few days, which is enough to prove that he is even more formidable than you said. When dealing with such a person, if you become anxious, failure is not far away." Looking at the dazed Chu Muqian, he smiled and put down his chopsticks. "Muqian, think carefully. At that time, when Feng Qi pointed his sword at your father, all of you, a group of people, couldn't save your father? In that situation, Feng Qi shouldn't have had the intention to kill, otherwise, your father wouldn't be alive now." Chu Muqian was stunned. "At that time, when everyone saw Yuan Lang being held at sword point, all of you lost your composure and stepped into Feng Qi rhythm step by step." Tong Shihong said, "And finally, it has come to this irreparable situation." Chu Muqian's face changed several times, and she sighed, "Uncle Tong, you're right. Before this, there has never been such a thing as the heavenly demon in the world. They don't follow common sense in their actions. You were led by them, which is understandable." Tong Shihong said, "Even I never expected that he would dare to use my divine fist sect as a sacrificial flag. He is indeed audacious. So, you're still angry, aren't you? You just don't show it." Chu Muqian looked at Tong Shihong, muttered under her breath, and respectfully asked, "Uncle Tong, what should we do next?" "I will follow your arrangements. First of all, we need to figure out what exactly the heavenly demon is. Its power seems to be growing too fast." Tong Shihong shook his head, called over an old man who was eating noodles nearby, and laughed, "Old man, my grandson and I are from out of town. We heard you talking about the heavenly demon's sword slaying the glutton, which is quite interesting. Why don't you join us and tell us the story of the heavenly demon?" Upon hearing this, the old man immediately became interested. He picked up his bowl and moved over, took a sip of the noodle soup to moisten his throat, and then said, "This is not a story, it's a true event. You've come to the right person. At the time when the heavenly demon was slaying the glutton, I was just 10 meters away from him. The glutton was over 5 meters tall, with a human face on a sheep's body, eyes under its armpits, and a huge bloody mouth. It screamed like a few months old baby. But its speed was incredibly fast, it darted past me with a whoosh, the wind it brought up made my old face hurt, just like being scraped by a knife." The old man was talking with great enthusiasm. When he reached the crucial point, he paused and teased, "Old man, do you know why it ran so fast?" "Why?" Tong Shihong swallowed a mouthful of noodles, playing along. "To explain why it ran so fast, we have to talk about our heavenly demon. The glutton is a manifestation of the heavenly demon. Its stomach is a bottomless pit, swallowing people whole, growing larger with each person it consumes. Its skin is thick and tough, and its scales are impervious to swords and spears. Can you imagine this monster rampaging in Liuyang city? It would have devoured all the hundreds of thousands of people in our city," the old man said, "but as the saying goes, every creature has its nemesis. The heavenly demon is the nemesis of the glutton, and he came to Liuyang city to subdue it. Speaking of the heavenly demon, we have to start with his two protectors. One of them is named Wang San, who is naturally fast, likes to collect the bodies of evildoers, and can stop a child from crying with just a shout. Yet, this demon is quite handsome." As he rambled on, Tong Shihong couldn't help but cough, "Old man, I have something to do later, can we just talk about the slaying of the glutton? I don't want to finish my noodles and only hear half of the story. It's unsatisfying." "I told you, it's not a story, it's a true event." The old man corrected with a frown, waving his hand, "All right, let's keep it short and talk about how the heavenly demon slew the glutton. As I said, the glutton's scales are impervious to swords and spears. The heavenly demon had only been in the world for a few days, where could he find a divine weapon? The sword in his hand was just an ordinary weapon, even if he had divine strength, he couldn't break the glutton's scales. The sword struck the glutton, sparks flew, the sword was chipped, but the glutton's skin was not broken. But the glutton had to be killed. Can you guess how the heavenly demon did it? How did he do it? Tong Shihong asked. Our heavenly demon, after circling the glutton a few times, came up with a plan. No matter how hard the glutton's body was, it still had to eat and excrete. Its anus was soft. The old man slurped a mouthful of noodles, his eyes shining brighter. The heavenly demon made a decisive move, sneaked behind the glutton when it was not paying attention, held the sword with both hands, and thrust it forward with all his might. It was as fast as lightning, and with a plop, the 1-meter-long sword was completely plunged in. You wouldn't know, the glutton's scream was so miserable. I was watching from the side, when the heavenly demon pulled out his sword, yellow and red stuff all came out, tisk tisk, no wonder the glutton ran so fast then. If your anus was stabbed, you would run that fast too. Tong Shihong's face suddenly changed, a mouthful of noodles stuck in his throat, he didn't know whether to swallow or spit it out. He had heard a lot about the slaying of the glutton on his way here, but he never thought that the glutton was killed in this way. Unexpected, isn't it? The old man saw the effect he wanted and laughed triumphantly. No one would have thought of it. You didn't see it, the glutton was tough, it didn't die from one stab. The heavenly demon chased after the glutton, stabbing it dozens of times, task. In the end, the sword was all stained yellow. It was with this sword that the heavenly demon announced the establishment of the peacekeeping gang. Chapter 52, Feng Qi Ear Roots. Outside Liuyang City. Under a pavilion by the side of the main road, Tong Shihong looked at the bustling peacekeeping gang not far away, silent. Chu Muqian stood beside him, also silent. After listening to the story of the old man cutting down the glutton with a sword, the two of them asked more than a dozen people to verify it, and the results were the same. Since then, they have been in this state. Uncle Tong, do you not have confidence in dealing with Feng Qi? Chu Muqian couldn't help but ask. Tong Shihong's brow unconsciously twitched a few times and said, everyone has weaknesses, even the heavenly demon. Looking at all of Feng Qi battles, he always launches sneak attacks from behind. From this, it can be inferred that his weakness is his front. As long as we don't give him a chance and attack from behind, we can still defeat him. However, to get rid of Feng Qi, we must first kill Wang San. His voice can disturb people's minds, and in battle, if one's mind is disturbed, it is inevitable to suffer a great defeat. I don't know what supernatural power Feng Zhong has. Muqian, the heavenly demon is strange. We need to carefully consider this matter and not act too hastily. Listening to this long speech, Chu Muqian said, Uncle Tong, if Feng Qi always attacks from behind, can't we protect our vulnerable spots with a heart-guarding mirror? It has only been 3 days since I left, and Feng Qi has already grown to this level. If he continues to grow, who in the martial world can control him? It seems that he clearly wants to dominate the entire martial world. Muqian, I naturally understand what you mean, but in a battle between masters, a slight difference can lead to a great loss. If you have a metal plate on your back, all your movements will be distorted. How can you use techniques? Tong Shihong said. I didn't say a metal plate, I said a heart-guarding mirror. Chu Muqian muttered in her heart, Uncle Tong, what should we do next? Tong Shihong said, Feng Qi is the root of chaos. To completely get rid of him, we must ensure that there are no hidden dangers. Muqian, you stay in Liuyang City and find a way to contact the Iron Palm Gang's old members. Continue to gather information about Feng Qi and pay attention to his movements. I will go to Huashan and ask the sect leader for help. We will divide and conquer to ensure that we eliminate the root. Chu Muqian widened her eyes and said, Uncle Tong. It's decided. Tong Shihong didn't give her a chance to speak and turned to leave. Suddenly, a loud voice came from the direction of the peacekeeping gang, Master Tong, since you're here, it's unreasonable not to even enter the door. Feng Qi has long admired Master Tong's name. If this matter spreads, people will say that Feng Qi doesn't understand etiquette. The voice got closer and closer. By the time the last word was spoken, Du Ji was less than 100 meters away from the two of them. Du Ji, who had maintained the safety, order and justice of hundreds of thousands of people in Liuyang City. Du Ji didn't even know how high his attributes were. Within a radius of 2 miles centered around him, nothing could escape his ears. Tong Shihong and Chu Muqian were discussing countermeasures outside the peacekeeping gang, almost speaking right next to his ears. How could he let his prey escape? He immediately chased after them. Through various means, Tong Shihong judged that Feng Qi's strength was probably not weaker than his own, but when he saw Feng Qi's speed, it was not just not weaker, but far superior to his own. His face changed immediately. Feng Qi. Chu Muqian stood still, looking at Feng Qi, who suddenly left. She couldn't understand how they were exposed. They had just had a meal in Liuyang City and listened to a story. How could the news spread so quickly? Miss, since Master Tong is here, it's considered a success. Go back to the peacekeeping gang and see the old man. He has missed you after all these days. Du Ji looked at Chu Muqian and casually shifted the blame onto her. Chu Muqian's face changed drastically and she hurriedly explained, Uncle Tong, don't listen to him. I didn't. I know. Tong Shihong interrupted her and looked at Du Ji, as if facing a formidable enemy. Feng Qi, what do you want? Feng Qi wants to invite Master Tong to join the peacekeeping alliance and jointly uphold the righteousness of the martial world. Du Ji clasped his fists and said. What if I refuse? Tong Shihong said. Then Feng Qi will defeat Master Tong and merge the Divine Fist sect into the peacekeeping gang, together upholding the righteousness of the martial world. Du Ji smiled indifferently. Arrogant. Tong Shihong coldly snorted. Master Tong, it's not that Feng Qi is arrogant, but that there is no other choice. Du Ji said, just now, I heard Master Tong say that Feng Qi is the root of chaos. I can't agree with that. After all, everything I have done is for the entire martial world. You heard it. Tong Shihong's face was shocked. He glanced in the direction of the peacekeeping gang. How is that possible? Why is it impossible? I'm not a human after all. Du Ji looked at Tong Shihong and smiled. The two of you were discussing countermeasures right under my nose. How could I not hear? Who knew your ears could hear from 2 miles away? Are you even human? Fine. You are the heavenly demon, not human. Tong Shihong's face turned even more unsightly. If he had been 70% confident of getting out of this unscathed earlier, now he was left with less than 30%. At this moment, he regretted so much that his intestines turned green. He shouldn't have been so damn curious. Why did he have to personally capture the heavenly demon? When he heard about this unfamiliar thing, he should have waited and observed. He had been cautious all his life, but he didn't expect to stumble here. I, who is wholeheartedly maintaining the world, am considered by Master Tong as the root of chaos. In the martial arts world, there are hundreds of people like me. When they grow up, will this world still be able to hold them? Master Tong, in a small Liuyang city, 4 heavenly demons have already appeared. The Divine Fist sect is one of the 3 gates and 5 sects. Does Master Tong think that there might be a heavenly demon hidden in his sect? Du Ji glanced at Tong Shihong and said, considering the time, the news about Liuyang City should have spread. Do you think the heavenly demon in the Divine Fist sect, upon learning what I've done, will act out of desperation and accelerate their plan to seize the Divine Fist sect? Tong Shihong's heart jolted, but he feigned calmness. What's the difference between you seizing it and them seizing it? You're all the same. My attribute is peacekeeping. As long as the world is stable, I am harmless. The Divine Fist sect is still yours. But I can't say for sure about the attributes of other heavenly demons, like Glutton. When pushed to the edge, it really eats people. Du Ji said, Master Tong, use my hand to eliminate them, then you can concentrate your forces to eliminate me. In the end, the whole world will return to peace. Such a simple truth, why can't you understand? Tong Shihong was stunned. Eliminate you? Yes. My attribute is peacekeeping. Heavenly demons do not belong to this world. Our existence will ultimately disrupt the operation of the entire world. I am also a heavenly demon, so in the end, eliminating myself to restore the order of the entire world is the true fulfillment of merit. Du Ji looked at the stunned Tong Shihong, and said seriously, but before that, no one can stop my determination to maintain the world. Otherwise, I will kill gods if they block me, and kill Buddhas if they block me. Are you insane? With your ghostly appearance, who would believe that you would eliminate yourself in the end? Tong Shihong's eyes twitched violently a few times. He watched Wang San and Feng Zhong walk out of the peacekeeping gang, weighed the pros and cons, and looked at Du Ji, gang leader Feng, let's have a fair fight. If you win, my Divine Fist sect will join the peacekeeping alliance. If you lose, let me leave. I will handle the matters of my sect myself. How about it? Chapter 53, Promotion to First Class. Du Xiao looked at Tong Shihong and nodded with a smile, good. Tong Shihong breathed a sigh of relief and adjusted his fighting state. Du Ji drew the long sword behind him, held it with both hands, and bowed to Tong Shihong, saying solemnly, Master Tong, this sword is 3 feet and 7 inches long, 1 inch and 3 minutes wide, made of fine steel, and has slain the ferocious beast Glutton. It is named Gluttonous Sword. Gluttonous Sword? Tong Shihong's pupils contracted, and some unpleasant images involuntarily flashed through his mind, causing his momentum to suddenly deflate. But seeing Du Ji's serious expression, he took a deep breath and adjusted his emotions again. Following Du Ji's lead, he showed his fist and said, I don't use weapons. My iron fists can conquer the world. My fist is called Overlord Fist. Gang leader Feng, please enlighten me. Du Ji looked at Tong Shihong again, reached out and pulled Wang San over, saying, Wang San, Heavenly Demon possesses his body and is skilled in sound wave techniques. His sound waves can confuse people's minds. Buzz. Like a lightning bolt exploding in Tong Shihong's mind. His mind went blank. We're here for a martial arts contest, introducing the sword is one thing, but why introduce him? Tong Shihong glared at Du Ji in annoyance and said impatiently, Gang leader Feng, it's a fair fight between the two of us. Even if I lose, I won't accept it if a third person interferes. He had always been cautious and composed, but unexpectedly, he encountered Feng Qi and his defenses were broken several times in a short period of time. It was truly unbelievable. Oh, I saw Master Tong looking at him all the time, so I wanted to introduce Wang San to you. He won't interfere in the fight. It was just a misunderstanding on the part of the master. Du Ji smiled faintly, pointed his sword forward, and said, Master, please. Tong Shihong was a top expert in the world, and his martial arts represented the top level in this world. After calming down, Du Ji's foolish dream of becoming a martial arts hero resurfaced. But with his extremely high attributes, defeating Gao Yang and the others was like cutting vegetables. It was not easy to encounter Tong Shihong, so he naturally wanted to have a match with him, experience the thrill of fighting against a master, and verify his own abilities. He couldn't go everywhere with a Wang San. However, facing the unknown, Du Ji didn't dare to be arrogant. Naturally, he tried to dampen Tong Shihong's fighting spirit. This was not a trick, but a psychological warfare before a martial arts contest between masters. Wang San's fear of Jiao was also a form of psychological warfare. The influence of Jiao's fear was too great. Once it was used on a master like Tong Shihong, he would be disabled. Previously, those who were affected by Jiao's fear, like Feng Yunjia and Hanzhou, were now demoted to incense masters. They were advised to stay away from Wang San and play their maximum role. Now, the peacekeeping gang was short of people, so they tried not to use them if possible. Masters still had to be convinced by faith and ideals. If he really couldn't defeat Tong Shihong, it wouldn't be too late to let Wang San speak. Du Ji believed that Wang San wouldn't be so stubborn. Looking at the gluttonous sword in Du Ji's hand, and then at Wang San standing on the side with a mysterious smile on his face, Tong Shihong became restless. No matter what, he couldn't calm down. He took a deep breath and reluctantly stabilized his emotions, saying, Please. As soon as his voice fell, Du Ji had already disappeared in front of him. The sound of breaking wind came from his left side. He slightly leaned to the side, avoiding the sword edge that was aimed at his heart, and then struck Du Ji's head with a punch. He threw a punch, but it hit nothing. Tong Shihong, who had rich combat experience, instinctively retracted his fist. As expected, the sharp sword light had already slashed down along his arm. If he had been a moment slower, he would have lost half of his arm. So fast. After just 2 moves, Tong Shihong took a sharp breath. From Feng Qi's position and the way he held the sword, he could tell that Feng Qi didn't have much martial skill. But his astonishing speed and reaction ability were enough to crush most of the top experts in the martial world. Too fast. Little did he know, Du Ji was equally shocked. His keen senses allowed him to clearly see every move Tong Shihong made, but the opponent seemed to be able to predict in advance and always managed to avoid his killer moves. Moreover, the seemingly slow punch was actually very fast, as if it could break through space and instantly appear in front of him. It was said that the boxing champion on earth could throw more than 10 punches in 1 second. Tong Shihong's punching speed clearly exceeded this frequency, and it also had power. The most crucial point was that he could maintain this punching speed and even change his moves midway, which was terrifying. Indeed, he was a top expert in the martial world with the support of internal energy. Before he unified Liuyang City, Du Ji was definitely not Tong Shihong's opponent. Even when he launched a sudden attack from behind, Tong Shihong might have a chance to turn around and punch him in the face. And this terrifying combat intuition. No wonder Chu Muqian invited him to deal with himself. If he hadn't grown so fast, he would have most likely lost to this old man. Sure enough, maintaining a small Liuyang city was not enough to suppress the world. The future is long, and life still requires effort. Damn, this old man is too powerful. Feng Zhong exclaimed, his speed can actually keep up with Brother Qi. Powerful. Wang San shrugged indifferently and said with a sinister smile, the 3 gates, 5 sects, 2 gangs, and 1 aristocratic family, plus the hidden masters who are not in these sects, when you add them all up, there are at most 20 of these guys. 20 is not enough. Feng Zhong said, I've noticed that your confidence is getting bigger and bigger. Wang San glanced at him and asked, how many days have we been in this world? Feng Zhong was stunned for a moment, and when he looked at Tong Shihong, he had already calmed down a lot. In that case, he's just average. Compared to Brother Qi. Wang San looked at Du Ji, his eyes full of infatuation, muttering, in the simulated fields we've been in before, there has never been anyone as amazing as Brother Qi. He's probably going to the alien star battlefield in the future. Yes. Indeed. Feng Zhong nodded in agreement, I wonder which family has nurtured such a stunning talent like Brother 7. After this simulation field, he's bound to become famous. Chu Muqian watched the 2 men fighting, her face full of sorrow. Feng Qi was so shameless, even resorting to sneak attacks when fighting her father. He had no respect for martial arts at all. How despicable! At this moment, Chu Muqian felt a wave of despair. She suddenly realized that she might never be able to rescue her father and reclaim the Iron Palm Gang in this lifetime. Wang San, what are you doing? Du Ji suddenly shouted out of the blue. Tong Shihong subconsciously shivered, revealing a flaw. Du Ji swept his sword towards his shoulder. With a swift dodge, he had already circled to Tong Shihong's back. A sudden stab from behind. At such a close distance, Tong Shihong couldn't react in time. A cold steel longsword was already at his throat. The cold sword edge was against Tong Shihong's throat. Du Ji smiled slightly, Master Tong, you've lost. Caught off guard. Indeed, his attack speed from behind was much faster than from the front. Tong Shihong sighed quietly, feeling the cold sword edge against his neck. He suddenly froze, as if he smelled a faint stench. His expression changed, Gang leader Feng, please remove your sword. I admit defeat. It's over. Chu Muqian closed her eyes in pain. Master Tong, thank you for letting me win. Du Ji smoothly withdrew his long sword, smiling as he took a step back. He was quite satisfied with the result of the duel. Without Wang San's assistance, he had defeated a top-notch expert. Now, he was more confident in upholding justice in the martial arts world. Chapter 54, Master Tong's Grand Plan. Peacekeeping Gang. Du Ji specially arranged a welcoming banquet for Tong Shihong, and all the middle and high-level members of the alliance were present to accompany him. Inside and outside the original Iron Palm Gang, a banquet was set up for the people to eat and drink. A long banner was hung above the gate of the Peacekeeping Gang, with the words warmly celebrate Tong Shihong's joining of the Divine Fist sect in the Peacekeeping Alliance. These days, the morale within the gang was low, and they needed a master like Tong Shihong to inject a shot of confidence into the Peacekeeping Gang, so that everyone would realize that following the Peacekeeping Gang would lead to a bright future. Tong Shihong sat next to Du Ji, looking at the festive Peacekeeping Gang, his face was as calm as water. The people of Liuyang City freely entered and exited the Peacekeeping Gang, coming just to catch a glimpse of him, making him feel like a monkey being observed. He never expected Du Ji to make such a big fuss. A banquet? Is it a wedding? But he couldn't perform. After all, he lost to Du Ji, and his reputation in the martial world was tarnished. Moreover, Du Ji even arranged for Chu Yuanlang's family to sit at the table next to him. Those who were terrified of the heavenly demon, as long as Wang San glanced at them, they trembled like quails. He didn't want to become like them. This was an unspoken threat. With both scheming and martial arts skills, if there was such a person stirring up trouble in the martial world, there would be no peace in the future. Tong Shihong glanced sideways at Du Ji, feeling worried. Everyone, welcome Master Tong to join our peacekeeping alliance. Du Ji stood beside Tong Shihong, raising his glass high. Welcome Master Tong. The voices were uneven, and everyone raised their glasses in agreement. The lively atmosphere was like a wedding scene. To Master Tong. The smiles on Gao Yang and others' faces were particularly sincere. They knew that their gang leader would make a move against Tong Shihong, but they didn't expect him to win so decisively. Tong Shihong's gloomy face was ignored by them as a matter of course. Back then, when they were brought under Du Ji's control, they were in the same situation, and in the end, they accepted their fate. Moreover, after joining the peacekeeping alliance, life was not as difficult as they had imagined. Now that the gang leader could defeat top-notch experts, it completely eliminated their worries, so what else could they be dissatisfied with? Tong Shihong drank the wine in his cup with a heavy heart, thinking about how to deal with the situation ahead. It was impossible for him to truly join the peacekeeping alliance. He was proud all his life, how could he submit to others? He needed to find a way to unite the people from the 3 gates and 5 sects to get rid of Feng Qi. That was the right path. Tong Shihong didn't believe what Feng Qi said about protecting the heavenly demon and then protecting his own words. When we got rid of He Yunan, the troublemaker, I said that Master Tong understands righteousness and will not blame me. Now, not only does Master Tong not blame me for what happened to He Yunan, but he also personally joined our peacekeeping gang. It really makes me feel emotional. Du Ji smiled and raised his glass again. Let us toast to Master Tong once again, toasting to his sense of justice and his clear-sightedness. To Master Tong. With the experience from last time, the voices of the peacekeeping gang members were much more uniform this time. Damn it! Tong Shihong's forehead throbbed, almost crushing the glass in his hand. You don't mention the bet, hey. But what could he do now? He couldn't overturn the table, and he couldn't argue with him. Did that mean he didn't have justice in his heart and was an evil person? This damn Feng Qi! Tong Shihong forced a stiff smile on his face and drank the wine in his cup. The bitterness flowed from his mouth to his heart. Master Tong is a top-notch expert in the world. With his joining, I, Feng Qi, have more confidence in maintaining martial arts peace. With the Divine Fist sect in the peacekeeping alliance, there will be the Tian Shan sect, the Huashan sect, the Beggars sect, and the Chiao family. Du Ji smiled. Let us toast to Master Tong once again, toasting to his good start in maintaining martial arts peace and the prosperous future of the martial world. To Master Tong. This time, the voices of the peacekeeping gang were completely unified. Tong Shihong raised his head and drank the wine in his cup. He was already numb. As long as he was under the eaves, he had to let others say whatever they wanted. Du Ji glanced at Tong Shihong with a smile and said, Master Tong, since you have just joined the peacekeeping alliance, why not say a few words to boost our morale? I'm already frustrated enough, and now you want me to boost morale for you? Feng Qi, don't push it too far. Tong Shihong glared at Du Ji and forced a smile. Gang leader Feng, I am not good with words, so I won't say anything. Master Tong is visiting our peacekeeping gang for the first time and may not feel at ease yet. We won't make things difficult for you, Master. Du Ji smiled. Tong Shihong breathed a sigh of relief. Unexpectedly, Du Ji changed the topic. Then let me say a few words on behalf of Master Tong. Damn it, Tong Shihong almost spat out the wine he had just sipped, a sudden panic rising in his heart. He was filled with regret. If he had known this would happen, he would have said something, anything, instead of letting Feng Qi speak. Who knew what he might say? Du Ji didn't care about Tong Shihong's thoughts and began to speak directly. Everyone knows that the martial world is in turmoil. Scoundrels are rampant, relying on their martial prowess to wreak havoc on the world. The common people are living in hardship. Moreover, the heavenly demon lurks in the world, ready to bring disaster at any moment. I, Feng, felt a calling and took on the responsibility of peacekeeping, thus establishing the peacekeeping sect, in an attempt to contribute to the world. However, the peacekeeping sect is too small. Even maintaining peace in a small place like Liuyang City is difficult, let alone the whole world. When I think of the countless people suffering in the world, my heart aches. His voice suddenly rose, full of vigor, but fortunately, I met Master Tong Shihong. You may not know, but at first, the old man didn't agree with me. After all, maintaining peace in the world is too difficult. But as the saying goes, heroes appreciate heroes. After some exchanges, Master Tong recognized my strength and, under my persuasion, also accepted my philosophy. He is willing to contribute his strength to uphold justice in the world. Therefore, the Divine Fist sect joined us and even provided many valuable suggestions. I didn't. Stop talking nonsense. Tong Shihong's eyes bulged out. He was about to stand up and refute, but just as he was about to rise, Du Ji seemed to unintentionally move the sword on the table, its tip faintly pointing at him. And Wang San, sitting across from him, coughed lightly. Tong Shihong's eye twitched, and he reluctantly sat back down. If he were killed by Feng Qi here, the Divine Fist sect would be finished. Chu Muqian sympathetically glanced at him. Her expressive eyes seemed to say, Uncle Tong, you understand now, right? It's not that we're not fighting back, it's that Feng Qi doesn't give us a chance. Success comes from secrecy, failure from leaks. Master Tong doesn't want to say much, but I, Feng, am not like him, I can't keep anything to myself. Of course, the peacekeeping sect does things openly and honestly. We are doing good deeds, so there's no need to hide. Du Ji waved his hand and said, on the way here, Master Tong and I have agreed to go to Huashan together to persuade the sect leader of the Huashan sect to join our peacekeeping alliance. Not only Huashan, but also Yimei, Taishan and the Beggars sect. We plan to form a large alliance centered on Liuyang City, uniting several large sects around us, to maintain peace in all the towns within our coverage area and eliminate all the heavenly demons. Then we will expand outward, grow step by step, and eventually maintain peace in the entire world, bringing everyone into our peacekeeping alliance. In the end, the world will be united. This is the future plan of our peacekeeping sect. It's over. In an instant. Tong Shihong seemed to have his spirit drained, slumping into his chair. His left hand was tightly gripping his thigh under the table, his heart filled with regret. Why did he let him speak? Why did he let him speak? Even if he had stood up and said a few words of blessing, it would have been better. Now, the Divine Fist sect was completely pushed to the opposing side of the other sects. Chapter 55, Maintain Balance. Taking advantage of Tong Shihong's fame, Du Ji drew a perfect blueprint, completely uniting the peacekeeping gang and gaining the support of the people in Liuyang City for Feng Qi. Except for Tong Shihong and a few members of the Chu family who still held illusions, everyone was happy. After eating and drinking, the guests gradually dispersed. Tong Shihong, who had been holding back his anger, finally found an opportunity to speak. He glared at Du Ji and said, Gang leader Feng, you've gone too far. When did I say that I wanted to go to Huashan and convince the sect leader? Didn't you say that? Du Ji smiled. I clearly heard you telling Chu Muqian that you wanted to go to Huashan to invite the sect leader. I was talking about inviting the sect leader to deal with. Tong Shihong's voice abruptly stopped. Because he saw Feng Qi's sword pointing at him again. Beside Feng Qi, Wang San, who had been fascinated with playing with a smooth skull, also turned his gaze towards him. Damn it! They won't let me speak properly, hey! Tong Shihong frowned, and his anger grew stronger. Deal with who? Du Ji asked with a smile. Naturally, it's to deal with you. Tong Shihong made up his mind. He was certain that Feng Qi wouldn't dare to really kill him. If he kept being submissive and couldn't even have a normal conversation, then there would be no point in living. It would be better to risk death. Tong Shihong had the pride of a top expert. Chu Muqian, who had been taking care of her father, couldn't help but look over when she heard this, her eyes filled with admiration. Indeed, experts had confidence. Chu Yuanlang, on the other hand, shook his head repeatedly at his old friend, signaling him not to act impulsively. However, Du Ji did not make things difficult for Tong Shihong. Instead, he looked at him in surprise and asked, Is there any difference? What? Tong Shihong looked puzzled. It's all going to Huashan anyway. You invite the sect leader to deal with me, and I convince the sect leader to join the peacekeeping alliance. There's no conflict between the two. Du Ji stabbed himself in the back without hesitation. Didn't I tell you before? After eliminating the other heavenly demons, I am the biggest threat. If you don't find a way to get rid of me, it's disrespectful to me. Feng Zhong looked at Du Ji with admiration, feeling even more regretful for his own shortcomings. He glanced at Wang San, who was constantly playing with the skull, and a strong sense of crisis arose in his heart. After thinking for a moment, Feng Zhong picked up the chopsticks in front of him and played with them, flipping them back and forth. To make a move and increase his strength a little bit, if he continued to be lax, he might not be able to maintain his position in the top 10 of the simulation field. Haven't you seen Wang San carrying a box of ice inconveniently and asking a craftsman to turn his collection into bone art to carry with him? Seeing Feng Qi's self-assured expression, Tong Shihong was speechless for a moment. Feng Qi gave him a reasonable explanation and even said that he didn't mind if Tong Shihong eliminated him. But why did he feel even more frustrated? Was it because he was being ignored? Tong Shihong looked at Wang San, who was playing with the skull, and then at Feng Zhong, who was playing with the chopsticks. His eyes twitched, and he found the reason. It's not because of himself. These guys are just a bunch of lunatics. If he argued with them and thought about their actions based on normal people's behavior, he would probably live 10 years less. The most correct thing to do was as Feng Qi said, let them do their thing, and he would do his own thing, and then find an opportunity to get rid of them. But when he thought that he came to this conclusion because of Feng Qi's reminder, Tong Shihong became even more depressed. Master Tong, do you have any more questions? Du Ji asked with concern. You can voice any doubts you have. We respect everyone's opinions. No, I don't. Tong Shihong waved his hand and said, I want to be alone now. Of course, as long as you don't leave the peacekeeping gang. Du Ji said, otherwise, I'll go to the Divine Fist sect to uphold justice. Tong Shihong looked at Du Ji, stood up, and stopped speaking. He decided to implement the method he had found to deal with Feng Qi. Just as he stood up, Feng Zhong suddenly spoke, Master Tong, I think the sect leader of the Huashan sect might not think highly of you. I accidentally heard a piece of news that the sect leader commented that your tyrant fist is a technique used by street brawlers, tarnishing the honor of martial artists. Being compared to you is his shame. He even said that your tyrant fist should be renamed to Turtle Fist. Tong Shihong was stunned, turned his head to look at Feng Zhong, furrowed his brows, and snorted coldly, Mr. Feng, there's no need to tell me these words from the street rats. With this, you can't sow discord between me and the sect leader. Master Tong, where there's smoke, there's fire. Feng Zhong said calmly. If you want to increase your strength, it's better to use the power of words more skillfully. Since Tong Shihong doesn't dare to make a move against you, you should learn from Feng Qi. Well, I know. I will verify it myself. Tong Shihong felt inexplicably annoyed and walked away. Du Ji looked at Feng Zhong and gave him a thumbs up under the table. Well done, this guy finally understood. With his help, taking Tong Shihong to Huashan was now more certain. Chu Muqian watched Tong Shihong's back and frowned slightly. She felt that he seemed to have lost his usual composure. But thinking about staying with Feng Qi and this group of people, not getting angry was already commendable. It was normal to lose composure. But for some reason, she still felt something was off. Miss Chu. Du Ji knocked on the table, waking the daydreaming Chu Muqian, and asked, what are you thinking about? Nothing. Chu Muqian shook her head, feeling inexplicably nervous. Could you please make another trip to the Divine Fist sect for us? Du Ji said with a smile. Master Tong has already agreed to go to Huashan with you, why do you need to go to the Divine Fist sect again? Chu Muqian asked. We need to invite Master Tong's disciples and family to join the peacekeeping gang. Du Ji explained, we are leaving Liuyang City for Huashan and we don't know how long we will be gone. Liuyang City can't be left without someone to maintain order. Do we really need to invite Master Tong's disciples? Upon hearing that Du Ji and the others were really leaving, Chu Muqian was secretly delighted, feeling that she had found an opportunity to turn the tables. Isn't Daoist priest Gao still here? With them guarding Liuyang City, the peacekeeping gang will be fine even if you guys are gone for a few days. It's not the same. Du Ji shook his head and smiled, we are taking Master Tong with us and leaving his family in Liuyang City to help us maintain order. Both sides are holding each other's hostages, so no one dares to cause trouble. This is beneficial for us to maintain balance. You call this maintaining balance? Chu Muqian's eyes widened, her secret delight instantly vanished. Feng Qi move not only restrained the people of the Divine Fist sect but also perfectly eliminated her potential to cause trouble. The Divine Fist sect is a top-tier sect. If Master Tong's disciples and family are brought here, unless there is external intervention, they won't be able to cause any trouble with their current manpower. Is this what they call leaving no stone unturned? Looking at Du Ji, Chu Muqian's desire to oppose him suddenly extinguished. It was too terrifying. Unless another heavenly demon as brilliant as him appears in the world, or the martial Saint Jiao is reborn, the experts of the 3 gates and 5 sects are probably no match for Feng Qi. At this moment, Lu Cheng hurried over, glanced at Chu Muqian and the others, and hesitated to speak. Du Ji smiled, "Don't worry, there's nothing that can't be said." Lu Cheng said, "Xiao Zhou has run away." Du Ji asked, "Who is Xiao Zhou?" Lu Cheng explained, "Previously, the gang leader wanted to investigate the heavenly demon hidden within the gang, but it was delayed by He Yunan's incident. After we investigated all the people who visited the old gang leader Chu, we thought there were no other heavenly demons in the gang. However, Xiao Zhou, who was supposed to patrol Luoyang City today, has disappeared. After some investigation, no one has seen Xiao Zhou since last night. Therefore, I suspect that Xiao Zhou is the heavenly demon hidden within the gang." Feng Zhong stopped playing with his chopsticks and said, "Brother Qi, should I write some notices and post them in the cities along the river to lure him back?" Du Ji's fingers lightly tapped on the table. He was silent for a moment, then said, "Forget it. We are going to Huashan next, it's not suitable to spread our energy too thin. Let them jump around for a while. As long as we consolidate the peacekeeping alliance, they won't be able to turn the tables." Chapter 56, Simulation Field Disaster. Du Ji waited for the disciples of the Divine Fist sect. Feng Zhong's letter finally reached the major sects, and the events in Luoyang City spread throughout the Daqian region through traveling merchants. The heavenly demon descended, and the peacekeeping gang, which maintained the interests of the people in Luoyang City, became the topic of discussion for everyone. "What the hell, who is this? Flipping the table directly. Are they trying to kill everyone? Feng Qi? Peacekeeping gang, interesting. They're directly showing their cards. Who gave them the courage? Let them be proud for a while. First, they're fat but not called fat. Later, their fatness will overwhelm the Kong. I hope they can hold on until the end. It's rare to see such an interesting player. We need to figure out the real keyword behind his deceptive maintenance. Glutton, such a good keyword, but it was wasted like this. How stupid. Maybe I should go to Luoyang City and see. This person has caused such a big commotion, their ranking must not be low. If I kill them and take over their inheritance, my cultivation of keywords should progress much faster than my slow practice. But they have 3 people, it might not be easy to deal with. It seems that some people have actually found partners in the simulation field. 3 lucky bastards. The hidden players in various locations in the simulation field were going crazy. Most people expressed strong indignation towards Du Ji flipping the table. More people were anxious. After all, not everyone's keyword is suitable to be revealed and played with. Especially after the news spread, the common people and major sects started a vigorous movement to search for the heavenly demon around them. This made some people afraid to even show their faces. Players with keywords like rebellious, malicious, brutal, lustful, and destructive, who could gradually grow while becoming evil, were affected. When they truly grew up, they would become a demon in their own right. Now Du Ji's actions directly cut off their path of growth. Even if it wasn't a direct cut-off, it made their growth much more difficult. No individual or group wants an evil demon around them who is destined to harm others. In the world of martial arts, no one will reason with you. Once local sects and clans discover your strange behavior, they can directly label you as a predetermined heavenly demon and execute you. A rebellious keyword can never be disguised as obedient. Players with keywords like kindness and nobility also suffered unjustly. Du Ji's keyword is peacekeeping, and it caused such a big commotion. Who knows what these people with their keywords will do when they grow up? For the indigenous people, the best way to deal with the heavenly demon is to kill them while they haven't grown up yet. After all, Feng Qi revealed the method to identify the heavenly demon, such as body possession of the old, weak, sick, and sudden changes in personality. These characteristics are actually easy to find. Not everyone has Du Ji's ability to adapt on the spot, nor can everyone encounter the clever Feng family. Many players with excellent keywords could have grown slowly and competed for a top 10 ranking in the simulation field. But now they have been eliminated unexpectedly, and they just want to say to Feng Qi, "Damn it! 500, 400, 300. In just a few days, the number of players in the simulation field, which was originally stable, began to rapidly decline again, with the numbers changing almost every day. Tisk tisk, it's so miserable. Brother Qi flipping the table and the quick offensive from the peacekeeping gang, it's truly a brilliant move. In less than half a month, there are less than 200 people left. It can be called the most miserable start in the simulation field. Feng Zhong held a cat in his arms and played with its ears with one hand. He looked at the constantly changing numbers on the data panel and made clicking sounds with his mouth. Many people who wanted to be lazy have also suffered unjustly. They definitely hate Brother Qi to death. This is how the simulation field is. Any situation can happen, and no one can blame anyone, Wang San said while holding a skull in his arms, unable to conceal his joy in his eyes. He was currently ranked second in the simulation field and naturally hoped that there would be fewer candidates in the field. Du Ji remained silent. After betraying so many players, his attributes had once again made a qualitative leap. At this moment, even without relying on schemes and tricks, he estimated that he could defeat Tong Shihong. Du Ji was considering his life after leaving the simulation field. While he was enjoying himself, would these eliminated players hold grudges against him and cause trouble for him in reality? This meant that he suddenly had hundreds of enemies. But it wasn't appropriate to ask about this matter. After all, he didn't want to expose his identity as a time traveler. It was fine if he didn't have the memories of the characters in the simulation field, but if he didn't have memories from reality either, it would be hard to explain. Headache. However, judging from the attitudes of Wang San and the others, there shouldn't be a big problem. In any school, the top-ranked student should have special privileges. Moreover, he was so outstanding, it wouldn't be justified if he didn't receive special protection. After much consideration, Du Ji decided to follow his heart. Excellent people should be envied. If he were to stagnate due to fear of being hated, it wouldn't be his style. However, those who can survive this storm should all be elites. And everyone will be targeting us, which may not be a good thing for us, Feng Zhong said. It could also be the real losers. Wang San glanced at Du Ji and Feng Zhong, and said with a bitter smile, "You elites from prestigious academies don't understand. Many students from ordinary academies enter the simulation field not to compete for rankings, but to enjoy life. As long as they don't expose themselves at the beginning, they should be able to hide. Moreover, even if they are elites, what can they do? According to Brother Qi plan, we should be able to control half of the simulation field within a month. I can't think of any keywords that could grow to compete with Brother Qi in such a short time. It's not about competing with Brother Qi, but with the three of us." Feng Zhong glanced at Wang San and said, "Wang San, don't underestimate the students from elite academies. When the situation is so critical that individual abilities can't turn the tide, they will actively form alliances. The education we received since childhood is to utilize everything around us. As long as we can survive to the end, there is always a chance of victory. Sometimes attributes can't decide everything, just like Glutton before, transforming into a divine beast, which is an advanced skill that has never appeared in the simulation field. To be honest, our trump cards are already revealed, we can't be too careless." After Feng Zhong finished speaking, he looked at the silent Du Ji and asked with a smile, "Brother Qi, what are you thinking about? You haven't spoken for a while." "Nothing." Du Ji, who had just overcome his inner conflict, smiled and looked at the two freaks beside him. "I'm thinking about our next move, how to maintain our ranking. I think as long as we act fast enough, get everyone moving, keep them constantly struggling for survival, on the edge of death, there should be no chance for them to form alliances." Wang San and Feng Zhong looked at each other. Feng Zhong gave a thumbs up and praised, "Brother Qi is always rational, never affected by external factors." Chapter 57, Role Model and Bravery. The Huashan sect and the Taishan sect are the two major sword sects in the Central Plains, renowned for their swordsmanship. The Huashan sect has over 1,000 disciples, which sounds fewer than the 3,000 gang members of the Iron Palm Gang. However, the quality of the 3,000 gang members of the Iron Palm Gang varies greatly, and there are not more than 500 skilled martial artists among them. On the other hand, all 1,000 disciples of the Huashan sect are skilled in martial arts, passed down from generation to generation. The sect leader of the Huashan sect is named Zhong Gui, in his 40s, and his swordsmanship is extraordinary. Because the sword he carries naturally forms golden patterns on its blade, during battles, the sword light shines brilliantly like the morning glow. Therefore, he is nicknamed the Golden Glow Swordsman. The Huashan sect is only a 2-day journey away from Liuyang City, and Zhong Gui is the first to receive news from Liuyang City. For the first time, he heard that the heavenly demon was a disciple who defected from Ninong's faction. Even if that disciple swore an oath and claimed to have personally seen the glutton, Zhong did not believe it. After all, the existence of gods, ghosts, and demons is too bizarre. Without seeing it with one's own eyes, no one would believe it too much, especially Zhong, who is the sect leader. He stubbornly believed that the so-called heavenly demon and glutton were tricks played by tricksters in the martial world. The peacekeeping gang is just a gang similar to the Lotus sect, using some unorthodox methods to deceive the people. The principal official of Liuyang City, Ninong, was also deceived and made the foolish decision to besiege the Divine Fist sect's residence. In the desperate eyes of the disciple who reported the news, Zhong only sent 2 disciples to Liuyang City to awaken Ninong and investigate the situation of the peacekeeping gang, as well as consider how to apologize to the Divine Fist sect. Afterwards, the news about the heavenly demon spread vividly among the merchants traveling between Liuyang City and Huashan, and even among the disciples and followers of the Huashan sect. The content specifically mentioned that the heavenly demon was really discovered in a certain village. A certain seriously ill person suddenly recovered and had a drastic change in personality. After being discovered, their power increased greatly and they injured dozens of villagers single-handedly, which was different from ordinary people. They were eventually beaten to death by the villagers with clubs. Zhong began to have doubts about the existence of the heavenly demon. After that, Feng Zhong's letter arrived. After reading Feng Zhong's letter, Zhong summoned the disciple who had previously returned from Liuyang City to inquire in detail about the glutton and the heavenly demon. Then, a large-scale investigation of the heavenly demon was launched within the Huashan sect. Through the investigation, they did find a problem. To be precise, it was not that they found it, but that the heavenly demon exposed themselves. Lotus Peak, Kingxia Hall. Zhong and many elders gathered together, examining the 2 third-generation disciples in the hall. Zhong asked, "Are you the heavenly demon who possesses others, as rumored in the world?" "Yes." The 2 disciples glanced at each other, and one of them said, "Sect leader, it is true that we are the heavenly demon who possesses others, but unlike what Feng Qi said, we do not harm the world. We came to this world just to seek a peaceful life and never thought of harming others." "Yes, sect leader. The ones who truly harm others and provoke chaos in the world are Feng Qi and his group," the other person said. Feng Qi disrupts the order of Liuyang City under the pretext of maintaining it, and his protector, the heavenly demon, takes pleasure in playing with dead bodies. Judging from their words and actions, they are not righteous heavenly demons. The people of Liuyang City have been blinded by their interests, which is why they are so protective of the so-called peacekeeping gang. Sect leader, if Feng Qi and his group are not eliminated, it will lead to a real chaos in the world. These 2 people were forced to reveal their identities and had no choice. The number of participants in the simulation field was visibly decreasing, and news about the heavenly demon was spreading fervently within the Huashan sect. Many disciples were already looking at them with suspicious eyes. Possessing others after being severely injured, sudden recovery, change in personality. They almost fulfilled all the methods Feng Qi mentioned to identify the heavenly demon. After all, apart from possessing others, most people would usually choose to stabilize themselves by using keywords for healing and recovery. Therefore, even for low-profile candidates, in order to protect their bodies, they had to use keywords. It was already good enough to be assigned a suitable keyword. How could they have such good luck to have their personalities perfectly match the keyword? Given time to grow, change in personality, and increase in strength, all abnormalities could gradually be concealed, and they could ultimately blend perfectly into this world. But Feng Qi disrupted everything too quickly, catching everyone off guard. When the Huashan sect began investigating the heavenly demon, the 2 of them knew they couldn't hide anymore. Instead of being exposed, it was better to admit it themselves and take the initiative. The matter of the heavenly demon is actually true. Several elders in the Lotus Hall looked at the 2 third-generation disciples, pointing and discussing, showing astonishment on their faces. Zhong suppressed his astonishment and asked, "What are your names?" The disciple who spoke first said, replying to the sect leader, "My name is Tan Hongsheng." The second disciple said, "My name is Gao Hongqiao." Zhong asked, "I'm asking for the name of the heavenly demon." The 2 disciples glanced at each other and said in unison, "Sect leader, the heavenly demon does not have a name. After descending to this world, we take on the name of the host." Zhong was stunned for a moment and asked again, "According to Feng Qi, the heavenly demon has its own attributes. What are the attributes of the 2 of you? You better answer truthfully." There are already methods to identify the heavenly demon. If your words and actions match your attributes, your strength will increase. Otherwise, your strength will weaken. This can be tested. Damn Feng Qi, not leaving anyone a way out, forcing everyone to play with their cards face up. The two cursed Feng Qi in their hearts. Fortunately, they had already figured out how to disguise themselves on their way here. Tan Hongsheng said, replying to the sect leader, my attribute is an example. As long as I become someone's role model or someone imitates me, I will continue to become stronger. Gao Hongqia remained composed, my attribute is bravery. Facing danger without retreating or being afraid will make me continuously stronger. Is that so? Zhong Gui asked. Sect leader, you can always seek verification from others. Tan Hongsheng said, ever since I underwent body possession, I have been practicing my internal skills until late at night, waking up at the crow of the rooster, and rushing to handle the affairs within the sect, fearing that I would fall behind others. Even my fellow disciples have become as diligent as I am. This is evident to all. Sect leader, my attributes do not harm others. On the contrary, keeping me in the sect can foster a good atmosphere and inspire my fellow disciples to grow together. What about you? Zhong Gui interrupted him, turning to Gao Hongqiao, and asked, how do you prove yourself? A brave person is not afraid of difficulties and dares to face any failure. Gao Hongqiao said, sect leader, I once ventured alone into the back mountain a few days ago, and fought a fierce tiger with bare hands. The body of the tiger is still there. I have also bravely challenged the master who taught us, never showing any fear or retreat due to our huge gap. I once climbed the most dangerous cliff in the back mountain of Huashan with bare hands. If the sect leader does not believe, I can climb it again. You call this bravery? Zhong Gui frowned. Sect leader, the brave are fearless. Gao Hongqiao puffed out his chest, with me in Huashan, I will always be at the forefront, willing to climb the knife mountain and dare to descend into the sea of fire. I can assure the sect leader that no matter what difficulties Huashan encounters, I will always stand at the forefront to resist the dangers for Huashan. Zhong Gui looked at the two of them and fell silent. After a while, he waved his hand, you two go to the side hall first, wait for us to discuss, and then decide whether you stay or leave. Tan Hongsheng did not leave, but stepped forward, sect leader, the growth rate of the heavenly demon is extremely fast. We don't know what Feng Qi real attributes are, but he has established the peacekeeping gang in Liuyang City, controlling hundreds of thousands of people in Liuyang City. His attributes must be extremely high. He has been exposed, and in order to consolidate his position, he will undoubtedly accelerate his expansion, and eliminate other heavenly demons for various reasons, aiming to be the only one in power. Huashan sect is the closest to Liuyang City, and Feng Qi next target might be Huashan. If we are slow, we will always be slow. We can't hesitate anymore, we should take the initiative to attack, kill Feng Qi, and eliminate the hidden danger. Gao Hongqiao said, sect leader, Brother Tan is right. Feng Qi actions prove that his attribute is not to maintain, but most likely to swallow and create chaos. If not stopped in time, and let him continue to grow, in not too many days, no one will be able to control him. By eliminating Feng Qi, with Brother Tan's example and my bravery, Huashan can grow stronger in no time, and it is not impossible to become the leader of the 3 gates and 5 sects. Tan Hongsheng said, sect leader, you have also seen Feng Qi abilities. Now that the matter of the heavenly demon has spread, other sects must also be looking for heavenly demons to use for themselves. The future world will definitely be a world of heavenly demons. Huashan must have its own heavenly demon, sect leader, you must think thrice. Chapter 58, Heavenly Demon Chaotic World. Listening to the two of them praising the benefits of the heavenly demon and the dangers of Feng Qi, Zhong Gui impatiently waved his hand and sent them to a side hall. He then sent someone to investigate their usual words and actions before turning his attention to the elders in the hall. Elders, what do you think? The matter of the heavenly demon is quite suspicious, we should handle it with caution, said the elder in charge of transmitting martial arts. The heavenly demon uses the evil method of body possession to descend into the world. Even if they speak well, this alone makes them not good people and we must be on guard. We should be on guard, but also make use of them, said the elder in charge of law enforcement. I think Tan Ongshen's words make sense. If all the sects have heavenly demons and we don't, we will inevitably be at a disadvantage in future conflicts in the martial world. But before using them, we must investigate them thoroughly. Those who are not of our clan will always have different hearts. I'm afraid we will be backlashed by the heavenly demon in the end, said the elder in charge of the sect. Didn't the Feng family suffer from Feng Qi backlash? And the Iron Palm Gang, in just a few days, was changed by Feng Qi and became the peacekeeping gang. We don't have a deep understanding of the heavenly demon. It is most secure to kill them while they are weak. Zhao Junior brother, what should we do if other sects start using the heavenly demon? Asked the elder in charge of law enforcement. I think we should gather the major sects in the name of Huashan and discuss the matter of the heavenly demon together, said the elder in charge of the sect. Don't forget, if it weren't for Feng Qi, Tan Hongsheng and the others would still be lurking in Huashan. These people with sinister intentions, how can we trust them? Zhong Gui fell silent for a moment and took out Feng Zhong's letter. Elders, take a look at this letter. The Sushan sect and the Bloodblade sect intend to attack the Central Plains and seize the martial saint's legacy. The Yimei sect has a 1,000-year-old blood ginseng that can increase one's martial arts power by 100 years. Our Huashan sect's predecessor, the sword demon Duguyun, created a sword technique called Dugu 9 Swords, which is said to have surpassed all martial arts in the world. The suspected location of his sword tomb is in the back mountains of the Kunlun sect. Sect leader, where did this letter come from? Asked the elder in charge of law enforcement. Apart from the truth about the heavenly demon, the rest of the letter is nonsense. I have never heard of a sword demon like Duguyun in Huashan. I have never heard of Bai Xiaosheng from the Tianji sect. Senior Zhang, I didn't believe it when I received this letter either, Zhong Gui sighed. But the matter of the heavenly demon has already been confirmed. Take a look at the second page, it contains Duguyun's life story. The elder in charge of law enforcement turned to the second page and read, before the age of 30, he wielded a sharp sword and roamed the world. Before the age of 40, he wielded a heavy iron sword. The heavy sword has no edge, yet it is skillful and ingenious. After the age of 40, everything can be used as a sword. Breaking sword technique, breaking knife technique, breaking spear technique, breaking palm technique. Every move only attacks and does not defend, attacking where the enemy must save. No moves are stronger than having no moves. At first, the elder in charge of law enforcement didn't take it seriously, but the more he read, the more shocked he became. He looked at the paper in his hand, bloodshot eyes appearing, muttering to himself as if he had gone mad, attacking where the enemy must save, having no moves is stronger than having moves. How is it possible for such a sword technique to exist in the world? The elder in charge of transmitting martial arts took the letter from him after reading it and silently handed it to the elder in charge of the section. After reading it, everyone in the hall fell into silence. The sword technique mentioned in the letter is truly extraordinary. With such a theory, it opens up a whole new world for sword techniques, said Zhong Gui. If our Huashan sect can obtain this sword technique, we can dominate the world. It's really just a matter of time. If the Qiao family can produce a martial saint like Qiao He, why can't our Huashan sect have a sword demon predecessor? But this letter came too coincidentally, said the elder in charge of the sect. The martial saint's treasure vault has been safe for many years. Why would the Sushan sect and the Bloodblade sect suddenly want to seize it for no reason? It's not without reason, said Zhong Gui. Zhao Junior brother, if the heavenly demon can infiltrate the Central Plains, they can also infiltrate the western regions. It's normal for them to be influenced by the heavenly demon. The elder in charge of the sect fell silent, finding it reasonable to connect everything with the heavenly demon. It's better to believe that it exists than to believe that it doesn't. Zhong Gui sighed. It's a troublesome autumn. Sect leader, I will take some people to Kunlun for a visit, said the elder in charge of law enforcement. If we can really find Duguyun's sword tomb, it will be a blessing for our Huashan sect. If we can't find it, I will go and discuss the matter of the heavenly demon with the Kunlun sect leader. It won't be a wasted trip. Good, thank you, Senior Zhang, Zhong Gui nodded. I will go to Yimei in the name of the heavenly demon and investigate the matter of the 1,000-year-old blood ginseng, said the elder in charge of the sect. 100 years of martial arts power is enough to create a super expert. We must be on guard. Thank you, Senior Zhao, Zhong Gui nodded. Several elders of the Huashan sect were discussing their separate actions and planning the specific itinerary based on Feng Zhong's letter. Zhong Gui's senior disciple, Wang Yuanhao, hurriedly arrived in the main hall. Master, I just received news that Master Tong of the Divine Fist sect has joined Feng Qi Peacekeeping Alliance. He claims to want to go to Huashan with Feng Qi and persuade the sect leader to join the Peacekeeping Alliance. eradicate the heavenly demon, and uphold justice in the martial world. Everyone in the hall was stunned. Has Tong Shihong gone mad? Said the elder in charge of law enforcement. He is a respected figure in his sect. How could he cooperate with someone as insignificant as Feng Qi? Said the elder in charge of transmitting martial arts. I'm afraid he has been influenced by something. The elder in charge of the sect was dumbfounded, finding it reasonable to connect anything with the heavenly demon. Zhong Gui pondered for a moment, then suddenly laughed and shook his head. Elders, please calm down. I understand Master Tong's character. He is not one to submit to others. This time, he must have suffered a loss at Feng Qi hands and wants to borrow the strength of Huashan. He wants me to join him in dealing with Feng Qi. Otherwise, why would Feng Qi come directly to attack Huashan and make this matter known to all? What the sect leader said makes sense, the law enforcement elder said, but even with Master Tong's strength, he can't handle Feng Qi and needs to borrow the strength of Huashan. Sect leader, you need to be cautious. I understand, Zhong Gui smiled. Uncle Zhang, you can go to Kunlun with peace of mind. The Dugu Nine Swords is related to the future of Huashan and is more important. Can the hundreds of people in the Huashan sect, including Master Tong, not handle a small Feng Qi? Once everything is arranged, I will find the two heavenly demons in the sect and find out their weaknesses. The same thing happened in Taishan, Beggar's sect, Yimei, and other sects. The letters Feng Zhong sent to each sect were different, but each one precisely scratched the itch of each sect. In just a few days, all the sects had taken action. As Du Ji predicted, the major sects were more concerned about their own interests and would not focus all their energy on his small peacekeeping sect. At this time, Du Ji and his two companions, along with Tong Shihong, had already set off for Huashan. Tong Shihong's face was as dark as the bottom of a pot, and he didn't say a word all the way. Before departure, Chu Muqian had tricked his wife, children, and a group of personal disciples into the peacekeeping sect. In order to make his disciples work hard for the peacekeeping sect, Feng Qi had beaten him up in front of everyone from various angles. He bluntly stated that if there was any trouble in the peacekeeping sect, he would kill him, then turn around and eliminate the Divine Fist sect to maintain the order they had disrupted. In front of so many people, he was beaten like a drowned dog, completely losing face. This bastard really did nothing human. What made him even more depressed was, in just a few days, Feng Qi could suppress him without resorting to any tricks. With such a growth rate, it wouldn't be long before no one in the martial arts world could handle him. Going to Huashan this time, if Zhong Gui was also taken down by him, he would never be able to shake off the name of a traitor to the 3 gates and 5 sects. Chapter 59, Maintain Freedom. This is a 52 silver ticket. I ask the young hero to hurry to Huashan and inform the sect leader that Feng Qi martial arts surpass mine in every aspect. There is no need to waste words with him. Gather all the power of Huashan and directly attack, without adhering to the rules of the martial world like the heavenly demon. Once Wang San speaks, it will instill fear in people. Do not let him speak. Feng Qi has a skill where he attacks from behind with incredible speed. Do not face him head-on. Instead, let the disciples of Huashan form a defensive formation. Just go and don't worry about Feng Qi and the others behind. The peacekeeping sect upholds peace, righteousness, justice, and freedom. Killing people without reason will tarnish their reputation. I ask the young hero to go to Mount Tai and make arrangements with the sect leader. If Huashan is defeated, Feng Qi next targets will be Mount Tai and Yimei. Let him contact the experts of both sects in advance. Along the way, Tong Shihong, with a swollen face, rode ahead of Du Ji and the others. Whenever he encountered suitable people, he would send them to deliver messages to various sects, completely disregarding Du Ji and the others following behind. Brother Qi, are we giving this old man face? We're even informing the enemy, without hiding it. Feng Zhong, whose letter had taken effect, had now risen to 3rd place in the simulation field rankings, surpassing Wang San. He was in high spirits and had sharp senses. Having tasted success, he became even more diligent. Besides playing with cat ears daily, Feng Zhong would fiddle with anything he could find, such as horse ears, chopsticks during meals, small stones on the ground, branches by the road, and so on. With his improved attributes and diligent practice, whenever he fiddled with something, his fingers would leave after images. Du Ji looked at the horse whose fur had fallen off due to Feng Zhong's fiddling and seriously suspected that he had developed an advanced skill called the hand of something. He then looked at Wang San, who had 3 skulls hanging from his neck and a necklace made of finger bones. Du Ji felt that his team had become abnormal, but he pitted himself as the only normal person. He exerted all his efforts to maintain peace and serve the people wholeheartedly, but now he was gradually being misunderstood. This damn simulation field. Feng Zhong, I must correct 2 things. Du Ji said, first, Huashan sect is not our enemy. They are our future partners. We are going to negotiate, not annihilate Huashan. The only condition for annihilating Huashan is if they have committed heinous acts that violate the principles of the peacekeeping sect. Second, the peacekeeping sect upholds everything, including freedom, which includes freedom of speech and action. We must lead by example and never violate it. Only you still remember the keyword uphold. Ask anyone in the world, who still believes that your keyword is uphold. Du Ji's performance, which seemed to be bordering on madness, was admired by Feng Zhong. He looked at Tong Shihong, who was at least 100 meters ahead of them, and smiled, Brother Qi, you're right. I was narrow-minded. However, we have every reason to teach him a lesson. We clearly came to negotiate, but Tong Shihong's actions can be seen as provoking conflicts between sects and undermining stability and unity. But I still want to kill him. It would be so fulfilling to have the head of a peerless master as my collection. Wang San, following Du Ji's example, caressed the skull hanging from his neck with a look of obsession, completely immersed in his sickly adorable state. Wang San, it's best to restrain your thoughts. Du Ji looked at Wang San and said seriously, if we kill him now, no one will join our peacekeeping sect anymore. In name, he is still a partner of the peacekeeping sect. If we harm him, all the sects will fight back, which is detrimental to the development of the peacekeeping sect. My keyword is uphold, but without helpers, how many people can we uphold? You're right, but it still feels a bit frustrating. Feng Zhong said. What's frustrating? He hasn't caused any serious consequences yet, right? We can't judge him based on his criminal thoughts alone. We have to wait until his actions have a negative impact. Du Ji saw a group of onlookers following them and smiled, looking at it from another perspective. Don't you think Tong Shihong's actions are constantly promoting the principles of the peacekeeping sect? Is there a better missionary than him? He's so dedicated. Brother Qi, he has exposed all our weaknesses. What if Huashan really decides to attack when we meet? Feng Zhong worriedly asked. Huashan is easy to defend but difficult to attack. If they use bows and arrows, we won't even have a place to hide. If he didn't inform them, wouldn't the Huashan sect still know our weaknesses? Besides, that's not our weakness, it's our greatest strength. Du Ji chuckled and said leisurely, as for bows and arrows, don't I have your backs? When necessary, I am the team's shield. Brother Qi, you are righteous. Feng Zhong smiled, but I wonder how many heavenly demons the Huashan sect has. We have caused such a big commotion, they definitely won't sit still. I don't know if they will escape or fight to the death. Those who choose to start with Huashan usually have ambitions. The possibility of fighting to the death is higher. After all, killing any one of us will inherit our rankings. Wang San licked his lips with a sinister expression. Unfortunately, they won't have this opportunity. I want to fill my neck with collections. You perverted freak. Feng Zhong muttered, watching Wang San, who was constantly playing with the skull, and noticed that his speed of fiddling with the horse's ears was getting faster. It's difficult not to make progress in such a team. Traveling day and night. On the 3rd day, the group arrived at the foot of Huashan. At this moment, hundreds of wandering martial artists from various sects trailed behind them. The collision between the rising peacekeeping gang and the old, established Huashan sect was a spectacle that hadn't been seen in the martial arts world for a long time. Moreover, who wouldn't want to get a closer look at the heavenly demon? Upon seeing Du Ji and his party, the disciples at the foot of Huashan changed their expressions and turned to report to the mountain. Feng Qi is here, Feng Qi is here. The disciple ran while banging a gong, like a little mountain demon who had discovered a pilgrimage team, not knowing whether to be excited or scared. Tong Shihong glanced back at Du Ji and sneered, let's go, gang leader Feng, sect leader is already waiting for us on the mountain. Wait a moment. Du Ji smiled, turned back to the onlooking martial artists, and said loudly, the peacekeeping gang has come to Huashan to invite the sect leader to join the peacekeeping alliance and maintain the stability of the martial arts world together. It's an honor for me that you all are here to witness this. However, as I am the heavenly demon, some of you may have reservations about my identity. The Huashan sect may also be wary of the heavenly demon's mischief. The upcoming negotiation may not go smoothly. You can follow me from a distance, and I will do my utmost to ensure everyone's safety. Before ascending the mountain, Du Ji gave himself a final boost, turning the curious onlookers into those he was bound to protect. Chapter 60, Sincerity. As a sect with a heritage of hundreds of years, Zhongui was originally confident when it came to Feng Qi going up the mountain. But Tong Shihong sent a message and said that Feng Qi and the other two were extremely dangerous, which made him nervous and even regret letting the law enforcement elders go out. These past 2 days, he verified the identities of Tan Hongsheng and Gao Hongqiao. When Tan Hongsheng started practicing, the disciples around him would unconsciously be influenced by him and become more diligent. Even he couldn't help but draw his sword and dance a few times, feeling a strange desire not to be surpassed by him. Gao Hongqiao demonstrated his skill of reaching into a pot of boiling oil to retrieve a copper coin. Zhongui watched as his hand was burned by the boiling oil, but he remained fearless and resolutely stirred the pot, successfully retrieving the coin. Then, his arm, which was almost cooked, quickly returned to normal. The pot was prepared by him, so there was no trick of adding vinegar to the bottom of the pot. All these supernatural abilities were enough to prove that the two of them were undoubtedly heavenly demons. Gao Hongqiao was a reckless man, staying behind to charge into battle for Huashan. But Tan Hongsheng could truly benefit Huashan. After all, with him leading the way, all the disciples of Huashan sect would imitate him. In due time, how many experts would emerge within the sect? The prosperity of a sect relies on inheritance and succession. Zhongui still had some fear of the heavenly demons, but he couldn't deny that he had developed a fondness for them. He only wanted to find a way to control them and make them wholeheartedly serve Huashan. Of course. The most urgent matter now was dealing with Feng Qi. After all, according to Tong Shihong, Feng Qi and the other two were quite troublesome. Moreover, the peacekeeping gang had already spread the news of inviting Huashan sect to join the peacekeeping alliance. If something went wrong, Huashan sect would lose face. Looking at the two heavenly demons in front of him, Zhongui asked, Feng Qi is about to come up the mountain. They each have their own unique abilities. What special supernatural powers do you two have that can be used in this battle? Gao Hongqiao said, Sect leader, in battle, as long as I don't retreat, my martial power will double and my recovery speed will increase. In this battle with Feng Qi, I will charge to the front. Your martial skills are only on par with the second-generation disciples. Feng Qi was able to defeat Master Tong, so if you charge forward, you will only be throwing your life away. Zhongui frowned, a hint of disappointment flashing in his eyes. When dealing with experts, the most important thing is coordination in formation. You don't need to recklessly charge forward. Sect leader, I will follow your arrangements. Gao Hongqiao said, but I will prove my strength to you. What about you? Zhongui looked at Tan Hongsheng and asked. Sect leader knows that the power of example is infinite. Tan Hongsheng smiled. When I lead by example, I will be full of infectious energy, inspiring those around me to imitate me. What's the use of that? Zhongui asked. Imitating not only works on our own people, but can also influence the enemy. Tan Hongsheng said. Zhongui suddenly froze, inexplicably reminded of the scene where Tan Hongsheng was practicing and he unconsciously danced with his sword. His expression suddenly became unpleasant, secretly thinking that indeed, heavenly demons like this should not exist in the world. They are not a good thing. Tan Hongsheng saw through Zhongui's thoughts and cursed Du Ji, saying, Sect leader, I am different from Feng Qi. He pretends to maintain order, but in reality, he causes chaos and deception. He is the most uncontrollable heavenly demon. But my example is purely supportive. Even if I can influence others, I must lead by example and cannot cause any harm. Gao Hongqiao said, my supernatural power is individual. If used well, I am like a knife in the sect leader's hands. In the hands of an incompetent person, a knife may harm oneself, but is the sect leader an incompetent person? The vast Huashan sect is well managed under the sect leader's control. Is the sect leader afraid that he can't control the two of us? Tan Hongsheng said, Sect leader, you should be grateful that we are in Huashan. If we were in another sect and the sect leader encountered us, how would he deal with it? For example, this time Feng Qi came to our door. They each have their own supernatural powers. Sect leader, just because we are powerful, you can't abandon us. Gao Hongqiao said, Sect leader, although our martial power may not be as strong as Feng Qi, if used as a surprise attack, Huashan Sect's chances of winning will increase. The two of them analyzed the pros and cons for Zhong Gui. Zhong Gui looked at them, remained silent for a moment, and said, "All right, the two of you wait for the opportunity to act, but you must listen to my orders." Tan Hongsheng and Gao Hongqiao glanced at each other. Tan Hongsheng said, "Sect leader, rest assured, Feng Qi is our common enemy. We want to eliminate all the heavenly demons just as much as you do. As long as we can personally get rid of Feng Qi, you can take action against us immediately, and we will accept it." Gao Hongqiao said, "There is one more thing to remember. Heavenly demons have extremely strong regenerative abilities. If we deal with them, it's best to cut off their heads or pierce their hearts. We can't leave them any chance to recover." In front of the mountain gate of Huashan sect, hundreds of disciples stood in formation, holding long swords. Du Ji clearly sensed that there were at least 100 archers behind the mountain gate, aiming at them, specifically aiming at Wang San. 200 meters away. Du Ji stopped and shouted loudly, "Master Zong, Feng Qi has come with sincerity, for the sake of justice in the martial world, inviting Huashan sect to join the peacekeeping alliance. But master, you respond with weapons. Is this how Huashan treats its guests?" Zhong Gui stood in front of the mountain gate, channeling his internal energy and responded, "Feng Qi, you use the name of peacekeeping, but you cause trouble in the world, forcibly seizing Iron Palm Gang's property, using force to coerce Master Tong into joining the peacekeeping gang, disrupting the martial world. Today, I, Zhong Gui, will seek justice for the martial world that you have oppressed and slay this demon on the peak of Huashan Sect. Leader Zong, the deeds I have done have been applauded by the people of Liuyang City. People from other places can't wait for the peacekeeping sect to expand to their territories, to uphold justice for them. Why is it that in sect leader Zong's mouth, I have become a villain?" Du Ji frowned. The Huashan sect is a leader in the martial world. Sect leader Zong doesn't seem like a confused person, does he? Smooth talker. Zong Gui snorted coldly, "Your actions, Master Tong has already made it clear to me." Puff. Du Ji turned around and launched a sudden backstab, his long sword piercing through Tong Shihong's back and out through his chest. Tong Shihong looked down at the sword tip piercing through him, his eyes full of disbelief. He was certain that Feng Qi would keep him as a symbol for the peacekeeping sect and wouldn't dare to kill him, so he had been provoking Feng Qi without any fear. He didn't expect to be suddenly backstabbed when they reached the destination. What's going on? Why did he suddenly decide to kill him? Wasn't he afraid that killing him would lead to endless battles with other sects? "Master Tong, I treated you with kindness, why did you try to tarnish the reputation of my peacekeeping sect?" Du Ji pulled out his long sword, took a step back, and looked at the staggering Tong Shihong who had lost his fighting power, his face full of anger. "Can't you stand to see peace in the martial world? Have I misjudged you?" Tong Shihong pressed a few points on his chest to stop the gushing blood, sat down cross-legged and dared not move. "Feng Qi, it was clearly you who said that in the end, you would even protect yourself to death, and didn't mind me discussing with sect leader Zong how to deal with you, you treacherous villain, who in the martial world would still trust your peacekeeping sect." "Master Tong, I did say that, but the premise was to eliminate all the heavenly demons in the world." Du Ji said solemnly, "The heavenly demon is still around, the martial world is unstable, and you took the opportunity to cause trouble. You're either stupid or evil. For the sake of the great cause of peacekeeping, I must wake you up, you confused fool." After speaking, he looked at Zhong Gui again and said loudly, "I have punished the villain who tried to sow discord and almost caused us to cross swords. I have shown sect leader Zong our sincerity and determination to maintain peace and stability. Next, we can officially discuss the matter of the Huashan sect joining the peacekeeping alliance. To be honest, principal official Nainong from your sect has already agreed to join the peacekeeping alliance along with the Beggars sect, Imei and other sects. I even have the contracts they signed." Chapter 61, Provoked into a Corner. What's going on? The onlookers were all stunned. They looked at the heavily injured Tong Shihong, but for a moment, they didn't know what to say to match their current mood. All the way, Tong Shihong had been recklessly finding people to deliver messages to Huashan. Everyone saw it, but Feng Qi remained indifferent, as if he tacitly approved. People thought that he was limited in ability, which was why he allowed Tong Shihong to act so recklessly. After all, Tong Shihong was a top-notch master in the world. They didn't expect that as soon as he arrived on the mountain, he would be stabbed. They couldn't even tell if this was a warning or a deterrent. What shocked them even more was that in the face of Feng Qi's sudden attack, Tong Shihong couldn't even dodge. Sure enough, it was worth following them all the way. This time, there was really a good show to watch. Huashan sect fell into silence. Tong Shihong suddenly came as a gesture of goodwill to disrupt the alliance between the two sects. Zhong Gui looked at Tong Shihong, who was sitting cross-legged on the ground, healing his injuries, and his mind went blank for a moment. He couldn't figure it out. Master Tong, what are you doing? All the way, you sent letter after letter to me, saying that it was not an exaggeration to say that you knew Feng Qi inside out. How come you didn't have any defense against his sneak attack? We've already come up the mountain, why didn't you come earlier? Could I still have someone shoot you? Could it be that you used your own life to demonstrate how powerful Feng Qi is? No. It has nothing to do with Master Tong. Clearly, it's the heavenly demon's unpredictable behavior that makes it impossible for people to guard against. Zhong Gui calmed his mind and looked at Feng Qi and the other two, who were 200 meters away. After a moment of contemplation, he said, "All right, since Nainong has agreed to Huashan sect joining the peacekeeping alliance, you can come forward and let's discuss cooperation. All disciples, put away your weapons and welcome gang leader Feng." 200 meters was too far, even a strong bow couldn't reach that distance. At least lure him closer first. Feng Qi was ruthless and heartless. Once he turned his back, Huashan sect, being so close to Liuyang city, would definitely suffer endless calamities. Zhong Gui decided to follow Tong Shihong's suggestion and kill Wang San first. Du Ji seemed a little surprised. This agreement was signed by Nainong, the principal official of Liuyang city. Does sect leader Zhong also recognize it? Recognize my ass. A small principal official of Liuyang city, what right does he have to be the leader of Huashan? But at this moment, Zhong Gui just wanted to lure Feng Qi closer and let the hidden archers shoot him, so he reluctantly said, "Yes, Nainong is a member of my Huashan sect. I will naturally recognize what he does." Gang leader Feng, right after the Divine Fist sect merged into the peacekeeping gang, such an incident happened. If Master Tong dies on Huashan, it will also be detrimental to the reputation of the peacekeeping gang. It's better to bring Master Tong here first to recuperate. Sect leader Zhong really understands righteousness. Du Ji smiled, "I thought a small principal official wouldn't be able to be the leader of Huashan. He came all the way to Huashan to seek confirmation from sect leader Zhong. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have come to Huashan. Sect leader Zhong is the leader of a sect, and his words carry weight. I trust him. And, as sect leader Zhong said, I need to hurry down the mountain to take care of Master Tong's injuries. If we wait too long and Master Tong dies on Huashan, we won't be able to explain it clearly." Zhong Gui cursed inwardly, a sneer hanging at the corner of his mouth. A document signed by a small principal official, I dare to recognize it. Does gang leader Feng not even dare to come up the mountain and let me confirm it? If you don't even let me take a look at the agreement, gang leader Feng, I won't recognize it once you leave Huashan. Feng gang leader, my Huashan sect clearly has ready-made medicine, but you want to take Master Tong down the mountain for treatment. All these signs go against common sense. Could it be that Feng gang leader has something to hide? Du Ji looked at Zhong Gui and thought to himself, this guy really has a sharp tongue. Gang leader Feng, please. Zhong Gui looked at Du Ji and smiled, it is rumored that you and Feng gang leader single-handedly attacked the Iron Palm gang and killed the glutton, a ferocious beast. You are an unparalleled young hero. But today, you dare not even enter the mountain gate of Huashan. If this gets out, it will be detrimental to the reputation of the peacekeeping gang. How can someone without courage uphold justice in the world? Two cunning foxes. Watching Zhong Gui and Du Ji confront each other, the onlookers who followed were once again amazed. They felt that this trip was not in vain. The intentions of both sides were clear, and neither had good intentions. But they could still speak so grandly and nobly, and no one could find fault with their words. Is this the brilliance of the big shots? If they were in the positions of either side, they would have been overwhelmed by words long ago. But for now, Feng Qi was at a disadvantage. After all, Zhong Gui's reasons were more righteous. And Feng Qi words and actions were clever, sounding reasonable, but upon closer inspection, they were all untenable. Indeed, experience makes the master. Sect leader Zhong, have you made up your mind? Du Ji didn't seem like someone who had been cornered, smiling as he asked. I don't understand what Feng gang leader means by that, Zhong Gui said. Presumably sect leader Zhong also knows that the main purpose of the peacekeeping gang's establishment is to eradicate the heavenly demons in the world. This matter is no less important than upholding justice and peace in the world, Du Ji said seriously. Feng gang leader, there's no need to beat around the bush. Everything can be said openly, Zhong Gui smiled. All right, I'll be straightforward then. Du Ji smiled. Firstly, if sect leader Zhong attacks me when I ascend the mountain, it would be a betrayal of trust. Secondly, if the Huashan sect is secretly harboring the heavenly demon and it gets exposed, it would be another violation. If either of these is discovered, Huashan will become a target for the peacekeeping gang to eliminate. The vast estate of the Huashan sect might be reduced to ashes. The reason why I insist on descending the mountain is to leave some room for sect leader Zhong to maneuver, and to give the Huashan sect some time to self-examine and self-correct. After all, the peacekeeping gang allows people to make mistakes and to correct them, just like how I only slightly punished Master Tong for his mistake and still insisted on helping him. But if the mistake is too grave, there won't even be a chance to correct it. Slightly punished? You pierced my heart and lungs, and you call that slight punishment? So, I should thank you, right? Tong Shihong, who was healing his wounds, heard Du Ji's words and was so angry that he almost lost control. He swayed slightly, a trace of fresh blood spilled from the corner of his mouth, and he almost lost his mind on the spot. He quickly stabilized his mind, focused on healing his wounds, and stopped listening to Du Ji's nonsense. I've made myself clear. Does sect leader Zhong still insist on inviting me up the mountain? Du Ji asked with a smile. Do you think I, Zhong Gui, am easily scared? Are the hundreds of us in the Huashan sect afraid of your 3 heavenly demons? Even if you talk eloquently, killing you would solve everything. Who in this world would dare to speak ill of me then? Do you really think the Huashan sect is a third-rate sect like the Iron Palm gang? Seeing Feng Qi being provoked into a corner, Zhong Gui smiled broadly and said with a fist salute, Gang leader Feng, you worry too much. I, Zhong Gui, have a clear conscience. Please. Chapter 62, Heavenly Demon is a group of pitiful people. The thief won't leave empty-handed. Since he has come, how could Du Ji just leave after saying a few words? If he leaves, Tong Shihong would have been stabbed in vain. Therefore, even if Zhong Gui doesn't provoke him, he still wants to defeat Huashan. No matter what kind of world it is, the fist is the strongest. If your fist is not strong, no one will pay attention to your preaching of fairness and righteousness. Feng Qi is so clever, but he still can't resist provocation. He is too impulsive. The peacekeeping alliance was in a good momentum, but now it's all gone. Feng Qi is also too arrogant. He clearly has so many people under his command, but he insists on going alone to the meeting. He never put in effort to manage the peacekeeping alliance. Who would be willing to sacrifice for Feng Qi? Why do you think he injured Tong Shihong before the battle? If they really fight, do you think Tong Shihong would help him? To be honest, the fact that the peacekeeping alliance did not rebel after Feng Qi left is enough to prove that Feng Qi is highly skilled. You make sense. So, what is Feng Qi trying to achieve by establishing the peacekeeping alliance? He risked his life and gained nothing. Is it really for the sake of justice for those commoners? He is the heavenly demon. We can't think of him with human thoughts. Do you know why they are called heavenly demons? There is a saying in the theater, if you're not crazy, you won't survive. Feng Qi said that heavenly demons have their own attributes and must act according to their attributes. But I think that demons are actually obsessions. They are trapped in their own obsessions. People who are stubborn can still be awakened by others, but these demon heads' obsessions are instinctive. They can't free themselves and will only dig themselves deeper. That's why their behavior seems strange to us. In their own hearts, everything they do is normal. Now that you mention it, I understand. Obsession is killing, it will restrain the desire to kill in one's heart. Obsession is hatred, it will hate the whole world. Feng Qi is right that the heavenly demons will harm the world. He wants to eliminate the other heavenly demons, but he completely fails to realize that he himself is deeply trapped in obsession. He is also a pitiful person. He is a pitiful demon. There are talented NPCs. With just a few simple sentences, the theory of heavenly demons has been fully explained. It seems to make sense and is in line with the player's words and actions. Du Ji looked at the group of amused people behind him, but a pitiful demon? The prestigious sects control all the resources. It's not easy to have someone stand up for you, but you don't come to help and just talk on the side? Who is really pitiful? If it weren't for the benefits outside the simulation field, he wouldn't even bother with them. But how can you fully enjoy the spectacle without getting splattered with blood? Du Ji turned around and looked at the archers behind him. Everyone, there is no harm in being courteous when there is no trouble. If you are not wicked, you are a thief. Even though I am making things difficult for the sect leader, he still insists on inviting me to Huashan. There must be a trap, and I suspect that there are heavenly demons lurking in Huashan, deceiving the sect leader. If we don't have a conflict, it's fine. But if a real fight breaks out, I ask all of you to retreat and not harm yourselves. After I deal with the heavenly demons in Huashan, you can temporarily join the Peacekeeping Alliance and assist me and the other two in managing the vast industry of Huashan. The Peacekeeping Alliance is fair and just, and no one will be taken advantage of. Move them with emotions, entice them with benefits. Du Ji must make these people stay in Huashan and witness their rise to power. Only then can they deter other sects. As for the other heavenly demons in Huashan, Du Ji didn't even care. The top 3 teams in the simulation field were the ones to worry about. If there were no heavenly demons? If Du Ji said there were, then there must be. Zhong Gui naturally heard Feng Qi words, but he didn't care at all. He couldn't be bothered to argue with a few dead people. Throughout history, except for Qiao He, no one has ever left the Huashan formation unscathed. Managing the industry of Huashan? What a joke! Zhong Gui looked at Du Ji and the other two approaching step by step, lowered his voice, and said to the dozen or so brothers who had the same level of cultivation as him, stick to the plan. If the arrows kill Wang San, then so be it. But if the arrows miss, remember to plug your ears immediately and not underestimate the enemy. The dozen or so experts nodded in agreement. Plug their ears? Du Ji's ears twitched slightly. If simply plugging his ears could deal with the fear of arrows, then it couldn't be called a skill. 200 meters, 150 meters, 100 meters, 80 meters. As Du Ji and the other two approached within arrow range, Zhong Gui suddenly shouted, shoot! Whoosh! 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 Over 100 archers who had been prepared for a long time shot their arrows almost simultaneously towards Wang San. Over 100 arrows covered all the areas where Wang San could dodge. At the moment they heard the command to shoot, Du Ji and the other two suddenly accelerated, like sharp arrows, rushing forward. With their keen ears and eyes, they had heard all of Tong Shihong's arrangements and strategies along the way, and had already planned countermeasures. Du Ji rushed to the front, with a long sword in each hand. He used his right sword to deflect the arrows in front of him, and his left sword to deflect the arrows that Wang San couldn't dodge. With his eyes at the back of his head, he could observe the surroundings without any blind spots, easily blocking several arrows for Wang San. Feng Zhong was in the middle, using both hands and 10 fingers to push and deflect. His usual practice came in handy. The arrows shot near them were easily deflected by him. Although he often argued with Wang San, neither of them would back down. But he knew that Wang San was the main target of the enemy, so he naturally protected Wang San first. With the support of the two, not a single arrow out of the 100 or so arrows landed on Wang San. After a round of simultaneous shooting, the archers no longer had the opportunity to shoot a second round. This is why martial arts experts in the martial world do not use bows and arrows. The speed of experts is too fast. Even in a sneak attack, they can only shoot 1 or 2 arrows at most before being approached by the opponent. Once the opponent gets close, bows and arrows become a burden. It is better to spend time practicing martial arts than practicing archery. Bows and arrows are useless. Zhong Gui quickly picked up 2 cotton balls and stuffed them into his ears, shouting, "Form a formation." People around him followed suit and stuffed their ears. Only second-generation disciples and above were allowed to stuff their ears. Third-generation disciples did not have this privilege. Martial artists value their hearing and vision, and isolating sound is equivalent to sealing off a part of their skills. Second-generation disciples could still adapt reluctantly. But third-generation disciples, without their hearing, couldn't even coordinate with each other, and the formation would be disrupted. Hundreds of Huashan disciples streamed out from the main hall, facing Du Ji, surrounding them layer by layer, with their swords pointed at the 3 of them, shining brightly and dazzling. Just like in movies and TV shows. In the world of martial arts, if you don't break through a sex gate, it's as if you've come here for nothing. Indeed, this formation is quite thrilling. In TV dramas, heroes break into famous sects, surrounded by hundreds of people, sweeping with their swords, piercing with their spears, killing in all directions, and finally breaking out of the encirclement, killing the boss without even getting a scratch. It's so cool. But when you are actually in it, surrounded by hundreds of people, with sharp blades everywhere you look, that kind of intimidation is not something ordinary people can bear. If your mental resilience is even slightly lacking, you might wet yourself on the spot. However, Du Ji is no ordinary person anymore. Standing inside the encirclement, he looked at Zhong Gui fearlessly and said, "Sect leader Zhong, as I expected, the peacekeeping sect is maintaining peace in the world, while the Huashan sect is going against the tide. It's only natural that they should face this disaster." Wang San and he spoke at the same time, "My dear darlings, I can't wait to turn your heads into my collection." He didn't have Du Ji's eyes at the back of his head, so he couldn't lock onto all the targets present. Therefore, he only targeted the second-generation disciples around Zhong Gui and the third-generation disciples in front of him, but he spared Zhong Gui. Before his words fell, chaos had already broken out in the Huashan sect's encirclement. Whether they had stuffed their ears or not, fear had invaded their hearts. Even the timid disciples couldn't hold their swords steady. Zhong Gui didn't feel targeted by Wang San and didn't sense anything unusual. He saw Du Ji and Wang San's mouths moving, but couldn't hear what they were saying. However, he could sense the abnormality around him and shouted without hesitation, "Attack!" He then attacked Wang San with his sword. The person affected by the fear hesitated and didn't move, but behind Wang San, those unaffected simultaneously thrust their swords at him. At least 5 people, 5 swords, either slashing or stabbing, attacked Wang San's vital points, sealing off all his evasive directions. "Do not harm my brother." Du Ji's figure turned, and the 2 long swords in his hands danced like windmills, blocking all the swords attacking Wang San. Before coming here, he could already defeat Tong Shihong head-on, and after coming up the mountain, he received a buff. It was no problem for him to block a few swords for Wang San. Moreover, the martial skills of the other Huashan disciples, except for Zhong Gui, were not comparable to Tong Shihong's. "My beloved darlings, don't rush, come one by one. With so many of you, I won't have enough space to hang your heads." Wang San turned around and laughed sinisterly, continuing to radiate his fear to more people. With Du Ji's protection, he even had the leisure to pick up a skull hanging around his neck, put it under his nose, and savor it, saying, "Come, let us be together forever." Monster! Evil demon! After Wang San's outrageous behavior, those with poor mental resilience immediately lost their composure. They didn't care about the ongoing battle and turned to escape. Pfft! In the instant he turned around, Du Ji's long sword had already pierced through his back. With the help of the eyes at the back of his head, he could perfectly seize any opportunity. At the same time, Wang San's eyes turned blood red, and he became excited. When someone he liked was injured, he could unleash 10 times his attack power. After only 3 rounds of combat, our side had already lost a general. Zhong Gui's eyes were filled with rage, and he thrust his sword forward. "Fifth junior brother, Wang San, you deserve to die." Chapter 63, Huashan Chaos. Du Ji turned around to block the sword for Wang San. But Wang San didn't need it anymore. He howled and pounced on the guy he had stabbed to death. With a swift swing of his short blade, he cleanly severed his head, holding the bloody head in his arms with deep affection. "Who hurt you? Why? No, besides me, no one can harm you. Damn it, you can only die by my hands." After saying that, he dropped the head from his hand and flew towards another second-generation disciple who was terrified by his madness. That disciple was already in a state of fear, and when he saw Wang San pouncing towards him, his liver trembled. When he extended his long sword, his mind was already in chaos. The short blade and the long sword collided. With a loud sound, the long sword was knocked away. Immediately, Wang San's short blade had already pierced into his chest, acting like a maniac. "Give me your heart, let me see your heart, see if there's me in your heart." No one wants to be just a support. Wang San was no exception. Feng Zhong's keywords were upgrading too fast, biting at his heels. He didn't know when Feng Zhong would surpass him, so he had to speed up his own upgrade and maintain his advantage. Using words alone was too slow. He had to demonstrate his sick love and obsession through actions. A moment later, a beating heart fell into Wang San's palm. He looked at the heart in his hand with an infatuated silly smile. Darling, your heart is warm, I didn't guess wrong, you do have me in your heart. Wang San's sudden burst of power frightened all the disciples who were terrified by his madness. Originally, they were enduring their fear and fighting. After all, Wang San didn't seem to be good at fighting. Killing him would bring relief. But now, Wang San not only stood there and spoke, but also took action himself. And what was he saying? Heavenly demon. He was a genuine heavenly demon. At this moment, fear overcame reason, causing them to forget that turning around meant death. They all turned around and rushed out with their swords, wanting to quickly escape from this terrifying battlefield and get away from the madman Wang San. Du Ji was someone who was good at seizing opportunities. Puff. 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 Anyone who dared to turn around couldn't escape his sword. Du Ji was ultimately kind-hearted and didn't kill everyone. With a single sword strike, he disabled their combat abilities, then turned back to protect Feng Zhong and faced Zhong Gui. Feng Zhong was the weakest among the three. Although his attributes had indeed improved, his skills were not combat-oriented. He relied purely on instinct to fight, at most on par with Feng family's family master Feng Shiren. Among a group of experts, without Du Ji's support, he would have been chopped into minced meat long ago. However, it seemed that he had really advanced a new skill. When his fingers flicked away the opponent's long sword, the opponent couldn't help but make strange sounds like ah or hum. Then their faces would turn red, their eyes would become unfocused, and even the most exquisite techniques would become chaotic. And then, Feng Zhong would kick them down and follow up with a sword strike. Ding! Dang! Heavenly demon! Don't come over! Ah! Help! Ah! Strange sounds echoed in the square in front of the main hall of Huashan sect. The wandering martial artists on the outskirts were all stunned. They looked at each other. From the sound, it didn't seem like a bloody battle, right? Just by listening to the sound, they had no idea what was happening inside. Unable to resist their curiosity, the martial artists climbed up trees and onto rooftops, trying to observe heavenly demons' fighting style. But from a distance, they still couldn't see clearly. However, the Huashan formation was in chaos, and they could understand that heavenly demon was truly wicked. Judging from the situation, it seemed that Huashan sect couldn't hold on. Were they about to witness history? No, they should participate in history. If Huashan sect really lost, it would be their turn as temporary workers to step in. They heard that Feng Qi was generous to the people below. Zhong Gui had earplugs in and couldn't hear the outside sounds, but the chaotic formation and the falling Huashan disciples made his face turn increasingly pale. What's going on? What are they afraid of? Didn't I give you earplugs? I'm fine, why are you running? Also, Feng Zhong's martial skills were clearly lacking. When you fought against him, your face turned as red as a caterpillar. Seeing that if this continued, Feng Qi and the others would break through the Huashan formation, Zhong Gui gritted his teeth and used the technique peak upon peak to force Du Ji back, quickly pulling out his earplugs. The strange sounds and the situation on the scene quickly matched up. Then, Zhong Gui felt even more abnormal. The earplugs he provided were useless. There was only one possibility left. Wang San left him alone just to toy with him, to let him watch Huashan sect's downfall in a sober state. What a great humiliation! Heavenly demon brat! Heavenly demon brat! Zhong Gui gritted his teeth, slashing at Du Ji with a sword that seemed to be imbued with a rainbow-like light. The sword's glow even reflected on his face, turning it golden. Master Tong was right, you demons shouldn't exist in this world. Despite the relentless attacks, Du Ji's strength continued to grow. Even if Zhong Gui was going mad, he couldn't touch Du Ji. However, his sword was inferior to Zhong Gui's Golden Dawn sword, and it was chipped in several places. Seeing this, Du Ji decided not to clash directly with his sword. He dodged his attacks, slipped away, stabbed a couple of fleeing Huashan disciples, and then returned to fight Zhong Gui. With him holding off Zhong Gui, the pressure on Feng Zhong and Wang San would be greatly reduced, and their attributes would also increase. Seeing Zhong Gui take out his earplugs, Du Ji said with a pained expression, "Sect leader Zhong, is this the outcome you wanted? For your selfish desires, you've buried the centuries-old legacy of Huashan, and sacrificed the lives of so many good men. They've trained hard for over a decade, they could have been heroes praised by all, freely roaming the world, punishing the wicked and promoting the good. But look at them now, they've died miserably here, their names won't even be remembered, their bodies can't even be preserved intact. All of this is because of you, sect leader Zone. Shut up, you demon head. If you hadn't come to Huashan, none of this would have happened. It's clear that you killed my Huashan disciples. What are you pretending to be a good person for? Zone Gui was furious. Sect leader Zone, the peacekeeping gang came with good intentions, just to invite the Huashan sect to jointly uphold the righteousness of the martial world, not to annex the Huashan sect. Where did we go wrong? Du Ji said, wasn't it sect leader Zone who used the pretext of observing the agreement to set up a large formation and attack us? Young men of the Huashan sect, sect leader Zone's defeat is certain. He doesn't value your lives. Why not join my peacekeeping gang? I will protect your safety. Although I am a heavenly demon, I would never use the lives of my subordinates to fill a pit. Wouldn't it be better to stay alive and do something more meaningful? Once I defeat Zone Gui, Huashan will belong to my peacekeeping gang, and all resources will still be managed by you. We are all born of our parents. Shut up. Zone Gui was about to go mad. Huashan disciples should serve Huashan. Following you, this demon head, is the path to ruin. Sect leader Zone, you are blatantly lying. In the peacekeeping gang, I, the gang leader, always lead the charge, and every ordinary disciple lives well. Du Ji retorted with a smile, if you dare, let the ordinary disciples go, and we can have a one-on-one duel. Why should I give up the great advantage of Huashan and duel with you? Seeing that the third-generation disciples were looking at him with strange expressions, Zone Gui felt a lump in his throat. He wanted to refute, but didn't know how to start. No matter what the real reason was, everything Feng Qi said was damn true. No matter how he explained, he would be at a disadvantage. This eloquent demon brat. Is the Huashan sect really going to perish in my hands? Zone Gui felt a wave of despair. He suddenly regretted sending the elders away. Their martial arts were not weaker than his. If they were here, the situation wouldn't be so passive. Unfortunately, Bai Ziasheng's letter came too late. If he had found the Dugu 9 swords a few months earlier, he could have killed several Feng Qis. And that Tong Shi Hong, Feng Qi is clearly so powerful, why did you portray him as weak? Are you deliberately trying to harm Huashan? Chapter 64, Skill Fight. Tan Hongsheng and Gao Hongqiao, who were acting as surprise soldiers among the third-generation disciples, looked at Du Ji and the other three who were killing everyone, and both of them were dumbfounded. Gao Hongqiao swallowed his saliva and said, Old Tan, these three guys are too powerful. Tan Hongshen's face turned ugly. You made such a big commotion in just over 10 days. You're also so powerful. You don't leave any room for others. Gao Hongqiao asked in confusion, how can these three people be so tacit and trust each other? Clearly, everyone in the simulation field is in a competitive relationship. Are they acquaintances? Tan Hongsheng said, the possibility of them being acquaintances is very low. At first, they might have some concerns, but if all three of them enter the top 10 in the simulation field, then before eliminating others, they will have an absolutely reliable alliance. Gao Hongqiao was stunned. Should we still make a move? Zone Gui obviously can't hold on. This guy even sent several elders out. Tan Hongsheng said, do you think in the current situation, Zone Gui's defeat, we have a chance to escape? Gao Hongqiao looked at Du Ji's ghostly speed, and his face changed. Old Tan, what if the two of us surrender? Is there a possibility that Feng Qi will take us in? Tan Hongsheng asked, what is your keyword? Gao Hongqiao blinked. Bravery, didn't we already discuss this? Tan Hongsheng sneered and shook his head. At a critical moment like this, is it interesting to pretend? Let's reveal our keywords and see if there is any hope for a comeback. My keyword is competition, and my advanced skill is expert in internal competition. As long as I initiate a competition, others will involuntarily follow. The higher the attribute, the greater the influence. This keyword must rely on the sect, otherwise it is useless. This skill has too many side effects, and Feng Qi won't use mine. Gao Hongqiao forced a smile. If you don't use it, then I definitely won't be able to use it. My keyword is recklessness, and I have two advanced skills, fearless recklessness and just recklessness. You already know about fearless recklessness. When I act recklessly, all my attributes increase tenfold. Just recklessness means that when I act recklessly, there is a certain chance that people around me will act recklessly with me. Purely negative keywords. Fearless recklessness. Tan Hongshen's eyes lit up. We still have a chance. What chance? Gao Hongqiao asked. Feng Qi didn't make a move on me. Obviously, he wants to subdue the Huashan sect. If we continue, the disciples of the Huashan sect will either be persuaded by him or lose their morale due to his attacks. Gao Hongqiao said, your skill can quickly make people chaotic. Feng Qi will never be able to truly subdue Huashan. If we come a few more times, increase our attributes, and then use fearless recklessness to kill one person, once we inherit his attribute value, we will be invincible. Gao Hongqiao won't give me a chance, right? Gao Hongqiao said. Isn't there still me? Tan Hongsheng said, as long as Feng Qi dares to make a move against you, I will use expert in internal competition to make him compete with himself. Don't forget, we are not fighting alone. Zhong Gui and the disciples of the Huashan sect are on our side. Don't hesitate, Feng Qi will definitely not let us go. Take a risk. Maybe we will be in the top 10 of the simulation field. Just don't kill everyone. Leave one for me. As long as we survive Feng Qi challenge, the two of us can still dominate. Okay. Gao Hongqiao agreed readily. The king of internal competition and just recklessness? Gao Hongqiao and Tan Hongsheng spoke in low voices. But their words were too secretive. Amidst the screams, Du Ji couldn't pay attention to them. The two of them hid behind the crowd. Du Ji could locate their positions, but he couldn't break through the human wall in front of him and quickly deal with them. When Feng Zhu transformed into the glutton, he caught Du Ji off guard. Now that these two guys had exposed their abilities, Du Ji naturally wouldn't suffer a loss again. He immediately shouted, San'er, North, two heavenly demons, one is competition, the other is recklessness. Advanced skills, expert in internal competition and just recklessness. When they show up later, kill them first. Competition and recklessness? Role model and bravery? Zhong Gui's mind was in a daze, and for a moment, he didn't think of the two heavenly demons. When he heard Feng Qi report, his nose almost went crooked. These two bastards, in such a critical situation, they still played tricks. It seemed that the heavenly demons had no good intentions. Damn, have my senses reached their peak? Their whereabouts were exposed, and Gao Hongqiao and Tan Hongsheng exclaimed at the same time. Old Gao, let's go all out! Tan Hongsheng shouted. Feng Qi, with me here, if you want to take Huashan, you'll have to step over my dead body. Gao Hongqiao raised his sword and shouted, no matter how powerful Feng Qi is, there are only two of them. Even if each of us stabs them like a hornet's nest, it will be over with just recklessness. Who needs formations? Brothers, follow me and charge. Charge! Charge! Just now, the disciples of the Huashan sect were persuaded by Du Ji and slowed down their attacks. But after Gao Hongqiao shouted, a large group of people lost their sanity and rushed into the crowd, even dragging Tan Hongsheng along. The Huashan disciples who were not affected by just recklessness were instantly knocked off balance. The people affected by fearful fear in the inner circle fled outside, while the Huashan disciples affected by just recklessness rushed inside. With the two forces colliding, the originally intact formation of Huashan completely fell apart and could no longer take shape. Brothers, follow me and charge. Kill Feng Qi! Kill Feng Qi! More and more people were dragged in, seemingly losing their sanity and fearless of death. Zhong sect leader, are they the heavenly demons you rely on? Du Ji sneered and mocked. Zhong Gui saw the scene outside with a chill in his heart. These guys with such an ability to manipulate others, can they really make a name for themselves? Does Huashan sect still have a place for him? Darlings, are you really going to fight me? Wang San stepped forward, using his charm to instill fear. Gao Hongqiao was the first to charge. When he met Wang San's eyes, his heart skipped a beat, as if the man in front of him could rip out his heart at any moment. But under the influence of his reckless courage, his fear turned into motivation. The only thought left in his mind was to kill him, or he would die. Immediately, he changed his target, kill Wang San, fear no evil, kill gods if they block the way, kill Buddhas if they block the way. The Huashan disciples who charged with him were completely swept up in his momentum, unable to control their actions. Even though they were terrified, they couldn't stop themselves. They trembled and shouted, don't kill me, while charging forward. Wang San was taken aback by their reaction. He quickly jumped behind Du Ji and lowered his voice, Brother 7, this one's skill counters mine. Why aren't you running then? If you can't beat him, can't you outrun him? Du Ji gave him a glance, activate your skill and charge in the opposite direction. You have higher attributes, you're faster than him. Wang San understood. He smeared the fresh blood on his hand onto the corner of his mouth, raised his dagger, and charged into the crowd, shouting as he ran, "Don't be afraid, darlings, your brother is here to accompany you." The second-generation disciples were either injured or dead. The third-generation disciples couldn't hold their formation against the terrifying Wang San and turned to run. Wang San followed closely. "Why are you running? Stay and keep me company. If you can't stay, leave your heads behind. Hang them around my neck, and we can keep each other company day and night. Demon, stay away. Charge, kill Wang San, slay the heart demon." Wang San's escape gave Gao Hongqiao an inexplicable confidence. With the advantage of having more people behind him, he ran past Feng Qi and chased after Wang San. Of course, he would pick the softer target. Once he killed Wang San and gained 10 times his attributes, it wouldn't be too late to kill Feng Qi. And so, on the main square of Huashan, a rather strange scene unfolded. A group of people were running ahead, screaming and howling, causing chaos among the outsiders who didn't understand what was happening. Wang San, with a dagger in hand and blood all over his face, was chasing after them, shouting, "Darling, I love you," as he ran. Behind him was Gao Hongqiao leading a group of people, their eyes red as they shouted, "Slay the heart demon." The entire Huashan sect was in chaos. The onlookers outside were dumbfounded. "Sect leader Zong, what am I supposed to say about you?" Sigh. Du Ji looked at Zong Gui, sighed, and suddenly raised his rusty sword, launching a surprise attack from behind on Gao Hongqiao's team. "You beasts, can't you see your fellow disciples lying on the ground? How can you step over them without a second thought?" Chapter 65, Ding Huashan. Is this still my Huashan sect? Looking at the chaotic scene in front of him, Zong Gui, holding the Jinxia sword, looked lost and seemed to have aged more than 10 years. If this continues, the Huashan sect will be expelled from the martial world. Why is it like this? What did I do wrong? Why is the heavens punishing me like this? Du Ji was very fast. In a moment, he assassinated more than 10 people and even had time to return and rescue Feng Zhong. After all, the Huashan formation has completely fallen into chaos, and he can always find someone with their back to him. With his mind's eye scanning the entire battlefield, once he observed Feng Zhong in danger, he would randomly find someone to strike and protect Feng Zhong from disaster. Du Ji was like a black lightning, flashing through the crowd. Every time he stopped, someone would fall. The awake disciples of the Huashan sect, what are you dazed for? Save people! Quickly carry the injured to the side, or else they will be trampled to death. This battle is not something you can participate in. Leave and do something more meaningful with your lives. Taking a moment to catch his breath, Du Ji stopped and loudly ordered the confused Huashan disciples, not forgetting to promote himself. The peacekeeping alliance is a righteous alliance. No matter when, we always prioritize life. With these words, the difference between right and wrong became clear. Regardless of Feng Qi's true intentions, he had always been passively dealing with the conflicts provoked by the Huashan sect. That's right. The war was initiated by the Huashan sect. Feng Qi and the other two came up the mountain to discuss joining the peacekeeping alliance with the Huashan sect. Moreover, he saw through the Huashan sect's plot against him and was already prepared to leave the mountain. He even pointed out that the heavenly demon was hiding within the Huashan sect, giving the sect leader a chance to reflect and reform. It was their own sect leader. It was him who recklessly provoked him, resulting in this tragic situation. Feng Qi didn't provoke you at all. He wanted to eliminate the heavenly demon in the martial world and maintain peace for the people. Why did you have to get rid of him? Moreover, Du Ji called for the rescue of his own enemies, while the sect leader was there slaying demons. In comparison, those clear-minded disciples of the Huashan sect couldn't help but start to reflect. After going through one incident after another in their minds, many people began to put down their weapons and silently carried their injured fellow disciples to a safe place. With someone taking the lead, the rest of the people were even less willing to fight. Even if they didn't save anyone, they retreated to the side and coldly observed the situation in the field. In no time, the crowded Huashan square became empty. Only 2 groups of people remained, centered around Wang San, running around the square, crying, laughing, shouting. Zhong Gui mechanically wielded his long sword to confront Du Ji. He saw the situation on the field and wanted to let his disciples return to the battle, but he couldn't bring himself to say it. Not to mention whether the disciples of the Huashan sect would listen to him, he didn't even know who to let them fight against. Feng Qi? Although most people were injured by Feng Qi, he only injured and didn't kill. He even called for the rescue of the people from Huashan. To be an enemy to this extent, he was already righteous enough. There probably weren't many people willing to take action against him. Gao Hongqiao? Gao Hongqiao was still a disciple of the Huashan sect on the surface, helping him in the fight against Feng Qi. This is ridiculous. Zhong Gui felt extremely frustrated. He couldn't understand how things had developed into this mess. This is nothing like the martial world. If he had known it would turn out like this, he would have joined the peacekeeping alliance straightforwardly. Seeing more and more people putting down their weapons, Du Ji glanced at Zhong Gui and made a promise, "Don't panic, the Huashan sect cannot accommodate you. Join the peacekeeping alliance. The peacekeeping alliance will always be your shield." There weren't many people who were influenced by Gao Hongqiao. Du Ji's sudden strikes were fierce and fast, and in no time, there were only a few people chasing after him. Tan Hongsheng caught a glimpse of the situation beside him and was afraid that he would be stabbed in the back by Du Ji for no reason. He made up his mind, "Everyone, who has practiced swordsmanship as well as I have. Watch me perform the Phoenix dance." At the moment when the inward collapse expert skill was activated, everyone around him was forced to stop and instinctively picked up their swords, practicing the Huashan sword technique with precision. Du Ji, Wang San, Feng Zhong, Zhong Gui and everyone else were forced to interrupt their current actions and join in, following the movements with precision. The disciples who were injured on the ground struggled to get up and practice swordsmanship, unwilling to fall behind. From motion to stillness, the style suddenly changed. Du Ji's face turned dark. "Damn it! Is this the inward collapse expert? You practice martial arts, and others have to practice martial arts too. Are they really all going to follow you and get involved in this mess? If you want to eat shit, do others have to fight you for it? This skill is even more unreasonable than glutton. Well, these guys' skills are all pretty unreasonable. Compared to them, my self-sacrificing righteousness is too gentle. If it weren't for the fact that I started early and developed rapidly, I definitely wouldn't be their opponent. This person cannot be spared. Sect Leader Zone, after the sword practice is over, kill Feng Qi. The disciples of the Huashan sect can join the peacekeeping alliance. Can you do it?" Tan Hongsheng also fell into the fear of being overwhelmed by the unreasonable skill. After withdrawing from the skill that had ruined everything, he didn't even dare to look at Wang San and trembled as he tried to influence Zhong Gui. "Do you still have the face to say that to me? You fraud!" Zhong Gui glared at Tan Hongsheng. If his sword couldn't be swung out, Tan Hongsheng would have been stabbed to death by him long ago. What was this now? The dignified sect leader of Huashan, practicing basic Huashan swordsmanship with a group of people after a formal fight with Feng Qi? Du Ji spoke before Zhong Gui could. "Why can't I go? The peacekeeping gang hasn't suffered any losses, only the Huashan sect has. My goal is to eradicate you heavenly demons. If I can accept disciples from the Huashan sect, I can accept sect leader Zone. Sect leader, if you go to the peacekeeping gang, there will be no Huashan sect left." Tan Hongsheng protested unwillingly. "It's just a joint defense, not merging the Huashan sect into the peacekeeping gang. What nonsense are you talking about?" Feng Zhong said, "Sect leader Zone, this heavenly demon you trust is not well-intentioned. He clearly wants to push you, to push Huashan to a dead end. Think about it, haven't they been misleading you all along?" As soon as the tongue of right and wrong spoke, Zhong Gui immediately cast a doubtful look at Tan Hongsheng, feeling more and more uneasy. Damn! Seeing Zhong Gui's gaze, Tan Hongsheng's heart thumped. He knew that all his plans had fallen through. The cooperation between Du Ji and his two companions was too tacit, and they couldn't exploit any loopholes. He took a deep breath. "Feng Qi, do I have a chance to join the peacekeeping gang? My keyword is competition. I can mobilize all the disobedient people in the peacekeeping gang. Aren't you trying to maintain world peace? Let me lead, no one will not do their best. I'm afraid you'll mobilize them to assassinate me. The bait of the top 10 in the simulation field is too tempting, tempting enough to make anyone take risks. The rivers and lakes are in chaos, and there's no time to train you little calamari anymore. Compared to you, the natives are so much easier to control, so naive and simple. Playing both sides, you've harmed the Huashan sect enough, and now you want to harm my peacekeeping gang. Du Ji glared at him and scolded, Sect Leader Zong, you now see the harm of the heavenly demon. Two heavenly demons, one confuses the mind, the other confuses behavior, they can't be controlled at all. Let's join forces to kill the heavenly demon and end the war. The Huashan sect can't afford more casualties. Feng Qi kept blaming the heavenly demon, giving him a way out. How could Zong Gui not understand? He pondered for a moment, looked around at the numb faces of his disciples, sighed, and said, Gang leader Feng, I was misled by the heavenly demon before and made such a stupid mistake. The Huashan sect is willing to join the peacekeeping alliance and follow the gang leader to kill the heavenly demon. With the last glimmer of hope stripped away, Tan Ongshen's face changed and he couldn't help but curse, Zong Gui, who misled you? It's clear that you wanted to deal with Feng Qi yourself. You fool, you have no idea what you're up against. Remember Tong Shihong? If you cooperate with Feng Qi, I'm afraid you'll be swallowed up without even your bones left. He turned to Gao Hongqiao, I have no chance to escape. I'll create an opportunity for you. You rush out and jump down from the back cliff. If you survive, go and contact others. Spread the skills of Feng Qi and the other two. I won't let them get away with it even if I die. Okay. Gao Hongqiao was closest to Wang San. Without the boost of fearless bravery, he was terrified and didn't dare to open his eyes. He just wanted to escape as soon as possible. Upon hearing this, he agreed readily, I will kill Feng Qi and avenge you. The fact proved. Their thoughts were too idealistic. Without winning over Zong Gui, their fate was already sealed. As the swordsmanship routine ended, Tan Hongsheng didn't even have time to create a second competition project before he was stabbed in the throat by Du Ji and in the heart by Zong Gui, exiting the simulation field with a face full of unwillingness. With Tan Ongshen's death, Gao Hongqiao had no way out. His attributes were too low. Even with the tenfold attribute boost from fearless bravery, he couldn't match Du Ji's speed. After all, the backstabbing bonus was proportional to the attributes. Du Ji originally had high attributes. In Huashan, he was both maintaining peace and backstabbing, fighting more and more bravely, and his attributes never stopped growing, breaking through the sky early. Even with the fearless bravery, Gao Hongqiao only managed to run 7 or 8 meters before he was caught up by Du Ji and stabbed in the heart, following in Tan Ongshen's footsteps. Du Ji's attributes increased again. This time, he finally confirmed that the increase from killing players was calculated separately from the keywords. Killing players did indeed give an extra attribute bonus. Excellent competition mechanism. Chapter 66, Martial World Lord. Huashan sect is finished. If I remember correctly, it was you who said that the peacekeeping gang is finished, right? I didn't know Feng Qi was so powerful. If I had known, I would have helped him earlier. Maybe I could have gained some favor. Now I can say that not only is Huashan sect finished, but the 3 gates and 5 sects are also finished. Do you believe it? Is this the way to fight? Unless Martial Saint Jiao is reborn, no one can control Feng Qi anymore. It's truly a chaotic world with the heavenly demon. That person who followed the heavenly demon in practicing swordsmanship, it's interesting. If I had trained with him, I might have become a top expert. It's a pity that such a talented heavenly demon was killed by Feng Qi. What a waste of talent. Talent? Didn't you see that even the severely injured stood up when they practiced together? Do you think he can train you to death? It's fortunate that Feng Qi's obsession is to protect. If he were to kill, the whole world would be finished. Everything has its own fate. When the heavenly demon appears, there will inevitably be someone like Feng Qi to clean up the mess. The wanderers whispered among themselves. On the side of Huashan sect, there was silence. Healthy people came and went to help the injured, while those who were terrified of the heavenly demon, like Wang San, kept their distance and dared not approach. Even the injured dared not groan loudly. Wherever their gaze fell, it was desolate. Zong Gui felt bitter in his heart as he looked at Feng Qi and the others in front of him. Finally, he clasped his fists and said, "Thank you, gang leader Feng, for showing mercy." This battle completely destroyed his pride as the sect leader. What a disaster! Du Ji sighed, his saintly compassion for the world and people fully displayed. Without getting rid of the heavenly demon, the martial world will not be at peace. I hope other sects will take this as a warning. I can't bear to see such tragedies happen again. If it weren't for you, how could such a tragedy happen? You are the biggest heavenly demon. Zhong wanted to respond, but he felt awkward no matter how he answered, so he changed the topic. What will gang leader Feng do next? Huashan sect will fully cooperate. My Divine Fist sect will also fully support. Tong Shihong came to their side, trembling. When the battle was halfway through, his injuries stabilized and he could almost move. He had originally wanted to escape during the chaos, but after seeing what happened to Huashan sect, he forcibly suppressed the thought of escape and came over to show his support as soon as the battle ended. Huashan sect made him realize the danger of the heavenly demon. Not every heavenly demon was as righteous as gang leader Feng. With their interference, the martial world would truly have no peace. Without gang leader Feng, the martial world would be in danger. If you had this attitude in the letter, Huashan sect wouldn't have suffered such a disaster. You bastard! Zhong glanced at Tong Shihong dissatisfiedly and clasped his fists. Master Tong is seriously injured and cannot be relied upon. Gang leader Feng, please give me instructions. Master Zhong, you are mistaken. Although I am seriously injured, the Divine Fist sect has many talented individuals. Your Huashan sect, on the other hand, has suffered injuries and deaths. How many people can still be of use? Tong Shihong retorted, seemingly remembering something. Besides, you, this guy, said behind my back that my fist technique is a woman's fighting style. Your character is rotten. I haven't even held you accountable yet. Who said your fist technique is a woman's fighting style? Zhong asked in surprise. Where did you hear such rumors? Feng Zhong's face twitched involuntarily and he looked away. Tong Shihong was stunned, his embarrassed face turning red. This was clearly Feng Zhong's joke, but why did I ask about it? Both sect leaders, please stop arguing. We are all one family now and we need to work together. Currently, the heavenly demon is spreading throughout the world, hiding in the shadows. Even if our three sects join forces, it is too slow to search for them. With Huashan sect and the Divine Fist sect joining the Peacekeeping Alliance, we will have some influence in the martial world. Why not let the two sect leaders take the lead and explain the danger of the heavenly demon to other sects, so that they can self-examine and find the heavenly demon within their own sects, and then kill them while they are weak? Du Ji nodded and suggested. Zhong and Tong Shihong glanced at each other and ignored each other. After a moment, Zhong said, Gang leader Feng's words are reasonable, but I believe that even with the lessons of Huashan sect, other sects will not take Gang leader Feng's words seriously. He paused for a moment. Gang leader Feng may not be familiar with other sects. They are like Huashan sect, unwilling to be restrained by the Peacekeeping Alliance. Even if they know there is a heavenly demon within their sect, they will think about controlling or using the heavenly demon first before dealing with gang leader Feng. A group of foolish people, disregarding the harm caused by the heavenly demon for their own benefit. Du Ji frowned. If the martial world is controlled by such people, it will be destroyed sooner or later. Even they are cursing them. Zhong and Tong Shihong felt a bit embarrassed. Zhong shook his head, Gang leader Feng, human nature is greedy. The righteousness and justice that your peacekeeping gang upholds are exactly what the martial world lacks now. The 3 gates and 5 sects have been used to bullying and exploiting others, and it's inevitable that they harbor filth and corruption within their ranks. They don't want to eliminate the heavenly demon, but they are more afraid that one day, if your peacekeeping gang grows too powerful, the butcher's knife will fall on them. Only by getting rid of you, can they feel at ease. In their hearts, your peacekeeping gang is the greatest threat. Tong Shihong looked at Zhong in astonishment, his eyes clearly expressing, you've got some nerve. Why should they be spared when the Huashan sect suffered so much? Zhong ignored Tong Shihong and continued, Gang leader Feng, your previous attitude was too mild. Only by making them fear, making them hurt, making them realize that opposing the peacekeeping gang will result in the extermination of their sect, will they listen to you, and only then can the martial world truly be at peace. Du Ji glanced at him, signaling him to continue. Zhong thought for a moment, as if making up his mind. He looked at Du Ji and said seriously, Gang leader Feng, the martial world has been in chaos for a long time, it's time for a martial arts alliance leader to manage it. Your skills are unparalleled, comparable to the martial saint 100 years ago, and you have the ambition to protect the world. I believe that the martial arts alliance leader should be none other than you. Master Tong, what do you think? What are your intentions? Are you trying to put Feng Qi on the spot, or are you trying to drag the other sects into this? Tong Shihong's brow twitched a few times, recalling his own experiences. He nodded affirmatively. I also believe that gang leader Feng is qualified to take the position of martial arts alliance leader. Now, under the leadership of the gang leader, there are already the Huashan and Divine Fist sects. If we can incorporate Taishan and Yimei, we will control half of the martial world sects. Even if he is not the alliance leader, he is already the alliance leader. At that time, who would dare not follow his orders? Martial Arts Alliance Leader. What a prestigious title! Being able to mix up the title of Martial Arts Alliance Leader, upholding the justice of the martial world is a matter of course, and it's even more justified. Although Zhong Gui seemed to have ulterior motives, Du Ji was still tempted. He smiled and said, the two sect leaders are right, I was thinking too shallowly before. I only thought about solving the threat of the heavenly demon in a way that everyone could accept. Now it seems that I should act decisively to maintain world peace, and I should use iron-blooded methods. Yes, we should use iron-blooded methods. Zhong Gui agreed. All right, let's settle it then. In order to eradicate the heavenly demon as soon as possible and restore peace to the martial world, I will take the position of Martial Arts Alliance Leader. Du Ji quickly adapted to his new role. Master Zhong, you will immediately send people to notify the Yimei, Taishan, Beggars sect, and other sects, asking them to thoroughly investigate the number of heavenly demons within their sects and the towns they control within 7 days, and to kill them. If they can't find any heavenly demons, it means they are intentionally harboring them, and for the sake of world peace, I will join forces with the Huashan and Divine Fist sects to punish them. Don't hesitate to be tough. Yes. Zhong Gui responded. Du Ji turned to Feng Zhong and said, Feng Zhong, you write a letter to all the major sects, telling them that in 20 days, the peacekeeping gang will hold a martial arts tournament at the top of Huashan to elect the Martial Arts Alliance leader and discuss the matter of eradicating the heavenly demon. If they don't come, they will be considered as accomplices of the heavenly demon, and the peacekeeping alliance will launch a crusade against them. Feng Zhong was stunned for a moment and asked, Brother Seven, isn't 20 days too long? Giving them so much time, there should be quite a few people growing up. If a group of heavenly demons come to participate in the martial arts tournament, we three may not be able to cope. Cough. Wang San coughed, looking at Feng Zhong with a strange look in his eyes. Feng Zhong was taken aback, and then realized where he had gone wrong. 20 days later, it would only be a month. In the previous simulation field, everyone only left the novice village after a month, but now, they were busy integrating the major sects. And not all keywords are suitable for open combat. Their side, ranking in the top 3 groups, head people and territory, what could those guys compare with them? Indeed, he was overthinking. We won't just wait here. Du Ji, unaware of the inside story, thought Feng Zhong's worry made sense. He turned to look at him and explained, as soon as the messenger leaves, we will leave too, and first incorporate the nearby sects into the peacekeeping alliance. As long as our territory is large enough and we have enough people to use, others should weigh the pros and cons of continuing to oppose us. Chapter 67, The Most Powerful Force in the World. Du Ji didn't rush to leave after setting his future goals. His abilities came from his keyword attribute, and he couldn't afford to lose the basic foundation he maintained at any time. Du Ji recruited the wandering knights who were watching the excitement on the mountain into the peacekeeping gang, promising them benefits and asking them to spread the news of the battle on Huashan, making more people aware of the danger and uncontrollability of the heavenly demon. He also sent disciples from the Huashan sect to establish a new patrol team, visiting the small sects controlled by the Huashan sect and investigating whether they were hiding the heavenly demon. They also punished the villains around Huashan and promoted the concept of the peacekeeping gang to the public, further expanding their achievements. As long as the territory he maintained was large enough, even if one place was destroyed, his attributes wouldn't drop too much. In the battle on Huashan, many disciples of the Huashan sect were injured by Du Ji. Add latest chapters at freeobnovlo only. However, Du Ji's noble behavior of maintaining peace won the support of most of the Huashan disciples. Their enthusiasm for working for Du Ji even surpassed Zhong Gui. The most important thing was that the quality of the Huashan disciples far exceeded the chaotic gang members of the Iron Palm gang. Moreover, they had been tortured in the battle on Huashan, and their hatred for the heavenly demon had penetrated into their bones. Their tolerance for the heavenly demon was zero. Du Ji didn't let go of any opportunity to backstab the players in the simulation field. He thoughtfully equipped this group of Huashan disciples with a set of experiences to deal with the heavenly demon. There were scouts, long-range attackers, reinforcements, and assault troops. In case they encountered someone like Tan Hongsheng who had unreasonable supernatural powers, not everyone would be trapped inside, and even the messenger wouldn't be able to escape. Tong Shihong was seriously injured and had to recuperate in the Huashan sect. However, he was worried that after the news of the Huashan sect spread, disciples from the Divine Fist sect would cause trouble in Liuyang City and provoke Feng Qi. He immediately wrote a letter to the disciples of the Divine Fist sect in Liuyang City, detailing the events of the battle on Huashan and issuing the order to investigate the heavenly demon within their sect and maintain social stability. Pain makes people grow. Tong Shihong was completely scared by Feng Qi torment and dared not cause any trouble at all. Everything was arranged properly. Du Ji and the other two set off again, heading to Mount Tai. However, this time, they were accompanied by Zhong Gui, the sect leader of the Huashan sect. After the battle on Huashan, the attributes of Du Ji and the other two had clearly grown, and they became more confident about the journey ahead. Zhong Gui spared no effort in promoting Feng Qi as the leader of the martial world. Whatever Du Ji needed, he provided without hesitation. As a result, the golden glow sword of the sect leader became Du Ji's new weapon, and he also obtained his own internal martial arts technique, the Great Tranquil Heart technique of the Huashan sect. The improvement of his attributes changed Du Ji's aptitude. Practicing the Great Tranquil Heart technique was like making rapid progress in a day. However, life was strange like that. Although he had the martial arts technique, he didn't have time to practice it. Du Ji had to use all his time to travel and integrate the forces of the martial world. But at this time, Du Ji wasn't so focused on martial arts anymore because he found that as long as his attributes were high enough, lightness skill didn't play a big role in battle. Most people couldn't fly when they encountered him, and they were stabbed from behind by him. Even if someone had good lightness skill and could jump half a meter high, the sword that stabbed their back might hit their buttocks, which was not much better than instant death. Liuyang City was located in the middle of several sects. It took 2 days to travel from Liuyang City to Huashan, and it took 3 to 4 days to travel from Huashan to Mount Tai. With the help of the Wandering Knights, the speed of information dissemination was much faster than Du Ji had imagined. In just a few days, the ordeal of the Huashan sect had spread throughout the 3 rivers and 5 lakes, and quickly radiated outward, causing a huge stir in the martial world. The heavenly demon was not the most shocking thing to them. What shocked them was that the mighty Huashan sect, with the assistance of the heavenly demon, was actually defeated by Feng Qi and his 2 companions, and was forced to join the peacekeeping alliance. This terrifying fact made all the sects have to re-evaluate Feng Qi's personal strength and their attitude towards the heavenly demon. Just as Du Ji believed, whoever had a strong fist in the martial world had the right to speak. Du Ji demanded that the major sects thoroughly investigate the heavenly demon within their sects. Although these sects were angry, they didn't think there was anything wrong with it. After all, the Huashan sect's example was there. Feng Qi and his 2 companions could challenge the Huashan sect, and now they had the assistance of the Huashan sect and the Divine Fist sect. They were even more invincible. Individual sects were simply no match for them. Of course, no one believed that Feng Qi was doing it to maintain peace in the world. They preferred to think that he was using the heavenly demon as an excuse to swallow their sects or to use their hands to eliminate the heavenly demon and ultimately establish his dominance. An invitation letter to elect the leader of the martial world was enough to explain everything. In any aspect, it was beneficial to Feng Qi peacekeeping gang. Perhaps the remaining sects could join forces and perhaps they were qualified to fight against the peacekeeping gang. But Feng Qi didn't give them time to unite. In the past, major events in the martial world often required several months of preheating, communication, arrangements for personnel and locations, and so on. But Feng Qi only gave them 7 days. Just after conquering Huashan, it was estimated that they hadn't even settled down in Huashan before they went out looking for trouble again. In such a short time, the news of the Huashan sect couldn't spread far. How could they unite the other sects? Moreover, because of Bai Ziasheng's letter, many experts within the sects had been sent out. For a while, the sects surrounding Liuyang City were all worried and had to make a choice between joining the peacekeeping gang and using the heavenly demon to resist the peacekeeping gang. The Taishan sect was the first to act. Then, when Du Ji and the others arrived at Mount Tai, they saw this scene. Qin Wenzheng, the sect leader of the Taishan sect, led the elite disciples of the sect to warmly welcome Feng Qi and his 2 companions. They immediately joined the peacekeeping alliance and presented 3 heavenly demon corpses as a gift. Qin Wenzheng made the most correct choice from the bottom of his heart. This was inevitable. Because Qin Wenzheng received information faster and more accurately than others. In Feng Zhong's letter to the Taishan sect, he mentioned that the nameless ancestor of the Taishan sect had fallen on Huashan, leaving behind the returning bird sword technique, which was picked up by the first disciple of the Huashan sect. Upon receiving the letter, Qin Wenzheng immediately sent an elder from his sect to secretly investigate Huashan to verify the news. However, they found no trace of the secret manual, but the elder of the Taishan sect witnessed Feng Qi brutal actions and the helpless situation of the Huashan sect. So, the elder of the Taishan sect was terrified. He didn't even bother to look for the secret manual and ran back to Taishan overnight to discuss countermeasures with the sect leader. The strength of the Taishan sect was similar to that of the Huashan sect. For the sake of a few heavenly demons within the sect, it was not worth risking the future of the Taishan sect. After all, Feng Qi peacekeeping gang was relatively mild, and the other heavenly demons were unpredictable. Rather than waiting for these unfamiliar heavenly demons to grow stronger and stab them in the back, it was better to follow Feng Qi. At least for now, Feng Qi only cared about other heavenly demons and didn't seem too eager for power. Moreover, those under Feng Qi were all old acquaintances. If anything happened, they could discuss it together. At worst, they could restrain the disciples within the sect from committing evil deeds. After weighing the pros and cons, the high-ranking members of the Taishan sect decisively killed the 3 heavenly demons who were excited about their association with the Taishan sect and were dreaming of taking down Feng Qi and inheriting their attributes. They then pledged their allegiance to the peacekeeping gang. The keywords of the 3 heavenly demons were said to be strength, honesty, and loyalty, but what the real keywords were, no one could verify since they were dead. It wasn't that important anymore. The news of the Taishan sect's surrender, without any casualties, quickly triggered a chain reaction. Following closely was the Yimei sect. They were even more proactive. After killing a few heavenly demons within their sect, they swept through the towns near the Yimei sect and found 2 more heavenly demons to hand over. Before Du Ji and his party could reach Yimei, they publicly announced their support for Feng Qi peacekeeping cause and joined the Peacekeeping Alliance. From then on, the Peacekeeping Alliance had the Huashan, Divine Fist sect, Taishan, and Yimei, 4 top-tier sects, and instantly became the most powerful force in the world. The pressure was on the Beggars sect. The Beggars sect was the last power around Liuyang city. If they could take down the Beggars sect, Du Ji's peacekeeping gang would have created a stronghold centered around Liuyang city, radiating out to 5 gangs, like an iron bucket. The sects that joined the peacekeeping gang eradicated the heavenly demons within their sects. The patrol teams formed by the disciples of the sects searched for heavenly demons hidden all over the world, which directly led to a further decrease in the number of remaining players in the simulation field. In just 7 or 8 days, there were less than 130 people left. Chapter 68, Using the Name of Goodness to Do Evil. Brother Qi, in less than 20 days, there are only 127 people left in the simulation field. We have created history. Feng Zhong continuously switched between ranking data, looking excited. I can't believe we accomplished this without personally participating. It was mainly Brother Qi doing. We can only be considered as supporting roles, Wang San corrected seriously. At this moment, he still had 3 skull pendants hanging around his neck, but there was an additional necklace made of finger bones, making him look like a primitive shaman, both evil and enchanting. It's everyone's cooperation that made it possible. Without your collaboration, I wouldn't have been able to achieve this. Du Ji smiled and didn't take credit. Brother Qi is being modest. With your abilities, even without us, you would have reached this point, maybe just a bit slower. It's absolutely impossible to not achieve it. On the contrary, without you, who knows, we might still be hiding in some corner, Feng Zhong said. The luckiest thing in my life is being caught by Brother Qi outside Liuyang city. Me too. Without Brother Qi, I might have already been eliminated, Wang San said. Keywords like sickly adorable are too niche and have low length. It's basically impossible to make it to the end. Now, I am second in the simulation field, it feels like a dream. Sanner, you won't stay in second place for long. Wait until I stir up chaos in the martial world with my silver tongue. The first place will be mine, Feng Zhong said. He took out a small toy that resembled a switch and habitually fiddled with it. Since coming down from Huashan sect, Feng Zhong no longer fiddled with cat ears because whenever he touched them, the cat would pee on him. The same went for horses. He now had to ride horses properly and restrain himself from fiddling with their ears. If he made any movement, the horse's legs would go weak and throw him off. Du Ji guessed correctly. He awakened a new skill in Huashan sect called spiritual connection. The target that his finger touched would involuntarily experience great pleasure. It sounded like a very improper skill. The nuns from Yimei sect no longer dared to approach Feng Zhong. They were more afraid of him than they were of Wang San. Just you? By that time, my reputation as sickly adorable had already spread throughout the world. You can only be an eternal third place. Wang San glanced at him disdainfully. Wait and see, Feng Zhong said happily. We are brothers. Is ranking really that important? Du Ji turned around and looked at them, smiling. The top 10 in the simulation field is what matters. If you surpass me and become first, I don't mind. Brother Qi, if anyone dares to surpass you, I will do everything in my power to kill them. Wang San looked at Du Ji, then at Feng Zhong, with a serious expression. Only Brother Qi can be the first in the simulation field. Why do you care about what I do? In my whole life, I won't have a chance to surpass Brother Qi. Feng Zhong glared back at him, then laughed. Speaking of which, you still lack confidence. You know you can't hold on to your second place. Wang San glanced at him and silently played with his skull pendant. Brother Qi, it's so enjoyable to fight and cooperate with you. I wonder if we will have a chance to cooperate in the next simulation field. Feng Zhong shook his head, looked at Du Ji, and his eyes lit up. Brother Qi, Saner, let's come up with a secret code. With Brother Qi experience, I think we can all survive the next simulation field. When we encounter the secret code, let's cooperate again and strive to enter the alien star battlefield together. Okay, Wang San said. King Kong has a golden mountain, and the pagoda suppresses the river demon. Du Ji casually said the classic secret code from Earth. After so many days, Du Ji understood the rules of the simulation field. Each person had a keyword, and these keywords were random. It was difficult for one person to compete for the top 10, so cooperating with others was the simplest method. Brother Qi, this secret code is amazing. It's catchy and easy to remember. Feng Zhong's eyes lit up, and he raised his thumb. It's much stronger than someone's today is not tomorrow, tomorrow is not the day after tomorrow. Except for the three of us, I guarantee that no one else can match it. Those who could match it were all fellow Earthlings. Du Ji silently complained in his heart, saying, don't talk nonsense. Let's think about how to deal with the Beggars sect. The Beggars sect has the largest number of people in the martial world, with the most elderly, weak, and sickly. It's been quiet for these days. They might be holding a few heavenly demons and want to challenge us. Maybe the Beggars sect and Azure Dragon gang are fighting because of their wives and children. Feng Zhong laughed. At this moment, his confidence was extremely inflated. Brother Qi, I will write another letter to lure the experts of the Beggars sect to Luoyang City. We will capture the leader of the Beggars sect and even the heavenly demons will have to kneel before us. Good. We need to be more cautious as we go further. Other people should have developed by now. Be careful when you go out, Du Ji nodded. We are in the light, and they are in the dark. We have finally created a good situation. Don't overturn the boat in the gutter. Soon, Du Ji learned the reason why the Beggars sect didn't come to surrender. The Qiao family, the number one family in the martial world, released a battle declaration against the peacekeeping gang, directly targeting Feng Qi policy towards the heavenly demons. Do we really have to exterminate all the heavenly demons? Undeniably, some heavenly demons are indeed evil. But according to the investigation by the Qiao family, many of the heavenly demons that Feng Qi claims will bring disaster to the world have attributes such as peace, kindness, diligence, enthusiasm, gentleness, magnanimity, and even selflessness, amiability, and nobility. When they come to the human world, they just want to live a good life and live like humans for their whole lives. They don't pose much harm to humans. On the contrary, they might even be beneficial. But because of the heavenly demon's identity, Feng Qi peacekeeping gang wants to eliminate them all. How innocent are they? What did they do wrong? Just because they are heavenly demons? Cats, dogs, cows, sheep, even flowers, birds, fish, and insects can all have a place in this world. In our vast world, why can't we tolerate a few heavenly demons? Feng Qi keeps talking about upholding the righteousness of the martial world and world peace, but is he really upholding these values? Wang San, standing beside him, was a genuine demon, who insulted people and terrified them. Why didn't Feng Qi eliminate him? In the end, what Feng Qi was protecting was nothing more than his personal interests. the power he gained through the peacekeeping gang. Without coercion, would Huashan, Taishan, Yimei, and the Divine Fist sect willingly join the peacekeeping alliance? The peacekeeping gang led by Feng Qi was even built on the seizure of others' properties. Doing evil in the name of good, worse than evil itself. How could such a person sincerely maintain peace in the world? Perhaps, Feng Qi nature is not about maintaining peace, but about disguise, greed, deception, and chaos. Such a person wants to be the leader of the martial world. My Chiao family will be the first to object. In the name of the martial saint, the Chiao family declares that any good heavenly demon who joins the Chiao family will receive our protection. Let's see what Feng Qi dares to do to you. In view of Feng Qi harm to the world, the Holy Land of the Chiao family will open in advance, inviting all major sects to visit the Chiao family. The Sushan sect and the Bloodblade sect want to come to the Chiao family to seize the secret scriptures, don't they? You don't have to seize them. Come to the Chiao family, whether you are a heavenly demon or a young person from any sect, as long as you meet the conditions to enter the Holy Land after the contest, you can enter the Holy Land, seek the legacy of the martial saint, enhance your strength, and jointly resist the peacekeeping gang. The family master of the Chiao family, Chiao Pingzhong, announces. Holding the battle declaration in his hand, Du Ji laughed wryly. What a big hat, the Chiao family is raising a big flag, openly opposing me. Who has bewitched Chiao Pingzhong to this extent? Feng Zhong frowned, playing with the object in his hand, his expression inexplicably serious. The Chiao family is not willing to have the title of the first martial family taken away by the gang leader. Zhong Gui said. Gang leader, the Chiao family has always been prestigious. With this battle declaration, other gangs will surely support them. If the Chiao family recruits more heavenly demons, I'm afraid our peacekeeping gang has no chance of winning. The sect leader of the Taishan sect, Qin Wenzheng, said with a bitter face. At this moment, he was full of regret. He regretted that his sect was not well located, and he regretted that the Chiao family's battle declaration was issued too late. If he could grasp either of the two, he would not have fallen to this point today. The peacekeeping gang only has 3 heavenly demons, Feng Qi, while the Chiao family can recruit dozens or even hundreds of heavenly demons with a single call. 3 against hundreds. The Chiao family has also attracted more sects. Not to mention others, the Beggars sect and the Azure Dragon gang alone outnumber their sects. He saw no chance of winning. If it weren't for Feng Qi tight control, he would have wanted to run away and join the Chiao family. Gang leader, what should we do? The Chiao family has raised a flag against the peacekeeping gang, and the Yimei sect's left Chu was also somewhat at a loss. Those who are not of our kind will have different hearts. Just because they are in high positions, are they right? The Chiao family's sheltering of the heavenly demons, who do not belong to this world, is equivalent to a flock of sheep sheltering a pack of wolves. This alone is enough to label them as traitors to their race. Of course, we have to go to the Chiao family, eradicate all the heavenly demons, and restore stability to the world. After we eradicate the Chiao family, we will take out the secret scriptures of the martial saint of the Chiao family and benefit the entire martial world. They clearly possess a treasure mountain, but they want to squeeze it out bit by bit through martial arts contests, thereby threatening the entire martial world. I, Du Ji, hate selfish people the most. Du Ji said righteously. He glanced at the battle declaration in his hand, chuckled, and said, speaking of which, the Chiao family has gathered all the heavenly demons, which is a great help to us. If I had known earlier, I would have used this trick to deceive them. End of this chapter. Chapter 69, Divide and Conquer. You are the heavenly demon, constantly claiming to eradicate the heavenly demon. He is a human, but constantly claiming to protect the heavenly demon. In the end, both of you are traitors to your own kind, yet each of you claims to be righteous. Indeed. Having a thick face and a black heart is the timeless way to survive in this world. However, who is right and who is wrong is no longer important. The key is how to solve the difficulties faced by the peacekeeping gang. Zhong Gui looked at the sect leader of the Yimei sect and said, Sect leader Zhuokyu, now we are all like grasshoppers on a rope. The experts of the Yimei sect should not hide any more. Summon her to join us in dealing with the Chiao family. Experts. Sect leader Zhuokyu looked puzzled. What is sect leader Zhong talking about? I am the most skilled martial artist in the Yimei sect. Don't pretend. Bai Xiaosheng has already said that the Yimei sect has discovered a 1000-year-old ginseng that can increase one's power by 100 years. Qin Wenzheng of the Taishan sect said, with 100 years of power, Qiao and the others are no match, even if they crawl out of their graves. What 1,000-year-old ginseng? Sect leader Zhu Okia frowned. Bai Xiaosheng is just talking nonsense. Qin Wenzheng suddenly frowned and looked at Zhong Gui. Sect leader Zhong, I've been hesitant to ask you, but did your senior disciple find the returning bird sword technique left behind by the nameless ancestor of the Taishan sect on your Huashan? You believe in the nameless ancestor too? You must be stupid. Zhong Gui sneered, then his expression changed. And the Huashan sect's sword demon's tomb is in Kunlun, damn it. And the Yimei sect's heaven-reliant sword has fallen into the hands of the beggars sect. Sect leader Zhu Okiu's expression also changed. She looked at Zhong Gui and the others, shaking her head with a wry smile. It's ridiculous that we, the leaders of several sects, have been confused by a few rumors and believed in such nonsense. It's simply laughable. Diverting the tiger away from the mountain. Zhong Gui muttered, subconsciously looking at Du Ji. Sect leader Zhong, it was Bai Xiaosheng who spread the rumors. What do you want me to do? Du Ji always defended his own interests. Do I look like someone who would do such a boring thing? Bai Xiaosheng hasn't shown up for a long time, but when you climbed Huashan, he suddenly appeared and took away many of our experts. If it wasn't you, then who else could it be? Zhong Gui was speechless. What was even more ridiculous was that he actually sent someone to verify such a simple rumor without hesitation. Thinking of Tong Shihong inexplicably asking about his Wangba Chuan, Zhong Gui's gaze turned to Feng Zhong. The so-called Bai Xiaosheng should be him, there was no mistake. He thought that Feng Zhong was only skilled with his hands, but he actually had such supernatural powers. The heavenly demon was too terrifying, manipulating all the sects without a trace. Feng Qi was right, the heavenly demon should not exist in this world. The Qiao family has gathered so many cunning heavenly demons, they are simply playing with fire. Feng Zhong focused on playing with his little toy, looking indifferent. Qin Wenzheng and sect leader Zhu Okiu also guessed Bai Xiaosheng's true identity. Qin Wenzhen's eyes suddenly lit up, as if he saw a glimmer of hope for a breakthrough. He asked, Gang leader Feng, can you let Bai Xiaosheng write a letter to deceive the heavenly demons gathered at the Qiao family and kill them? Gang leader Qin, can maintaining justice in the world be called deception? Du Ji looked at Qin Wenzheng, furrowing his brow. The Qiao family is whitewashing the heavenly demons, deceiving the world, and smearing our peacekeeping gang. That is deception. Not only deception, but also the greatest evil. We must denounce and strike against such behavior. Qin Wenzhen's mouth twitched slightly and he changed his wording. Gang leader, can we bring out the heavenly demons of the Qiao family and kill them? No rush. Give the Qiao family a few more days. If we take action in advance and scare the heavenly demons away from the Qiao family, it won't be good. Du Ji said, besides, we can't just look at the surface of the problem. Maybe the Qiao family is enduring humiliation and using this reason to gather all the heavenly demons and then kill them. We should think positively. Zhong Gui looked at Du Ji in astonishment. Impossible. Qin Wenzheng said, you just said that the Qiao family is selfish and self-interested. How could they be so great? Qin sect leader, with the appearance of the heavenly demons, such strange things have happened. What is impossible? Du Ji smiled and looked at Feng Zhong. Feng Zhong, since the Qiao family has declared war, we cannot remain silent. You should also write a response letter, telling the Qiao family a story of a farmer and a snake, advising them to turn back and that foolish kindness will only harm themselves and others. Tell them that as long as they give up helping the heavenly demons, the arms of the peacekeeping gang will always be open to them. What farmer and snake? Feng Zhong asked. One cold winter, a kind-hearted farmer found a frozen snake by the roadside. He felt pity for the snake and put it in his bosom to warm it with his body heat. However, after the snake woke up, it revealed its cruel nature and bit the farmer without hesitation. Before the farmer died, his last words were, I actually pitted a venomous snake, so I should suffer this retribution. Du Ji looked at everyone and told the small fable. Feng Zhong was stunned and gave Du Ji a thumbs up. Qin Wenzheng and the others pondered. Feng Zhong picked up his pen and started writing, but suddenly stopped halfway. Brother 7, are we being too gentle by doing this? Gentle. Du Ji glanced at him, shook his head, and said, send this out first. In about 5 days, the letter Qiao Pingzhang wrote to me should be leaked. What letter? Qin Wenzheng asked. A letter in which I play the bad cop, the Chiao family plays the good cop, and we trick the heavenly demon into our trap, Du Ji said indifferently. Didn't we just discuss this? The Chiao family endures humiliation for the greater good, while the peacekeeping gang takes the beatings and the blame. We protect the heavenly demon in the name of the Chiao family, and the Chiao family's proclamation targets the peacekeeping gang, as well as our response to the farmer and the snake. All of these are strategies we've planned in advance. As soon as he finished speaking, the room fell into silence. Wang San's hand, which had been stroking a skull, stopped. Feng Zhong's pen also halted. Qin Wenzheng and the others exchanged glances, unable to utter a word. It was as if the temperature had suddenly dropped, freezing everything in place. Qin Wenzheng felt a chill run down his spine. At this moment, he suddenly thought that surrendering to the peacekeeping gang might not be a bad choice. Regardless of whether Bai Xiaosheng's supernatural power existed or not, Du Ji's strategy of attack and defense alone was enough to give the Chiao family and the heavenly demon they sheltered a hard time. In just a few days, how could the heavenly demon, with its vastly different personality, fully trust the Chiao family? Compared to Feng Qi, he, as a gang leader, seemed a bit too naive. What kind of education had these heavenly demons received before their body possession? No. Feng Zhong and Wang San also seemed to be shocked. Feng Qi teacher must be better than theirs. No wonder he could stand out in just a few days and gain such a large territory. Liuyang City was Du Ji's territory. After the Chiao family's proclamation to protect the heavenly demon was issued, it caused a great stir among the people. The people did not agree with their views and were quite disgusted with their actions. After all, the Chiao family was criticizing the peacekeeping gang, who had brought them peace. The people who had benefited from Du Ji spontaneously defended his reputation. Many educated intellectuals openly wrote articles accusing the Chiao family of changing the concept, criticizing their ignorance, and claiming that they were the truly selfish ones. Then, the peacekeeping gang's response to the farmer and the snake warning to the Chiao family immediately resonated with everyone. The farmer and the snake was simple and easy to understand. After the people put themselves in the story, they felt that the Chiao family was ignorant and believed that they would suffer as the gang leader Feng predicted. Many letters were sent to the Chiao family, urging them to kill the heavenly demon they had taken in, join the peacekeeping alliance, expel the heavenly demon, and not harm others or themselves. The Chiao family naturally remained unmoved, and instead issued another announcement, accusing Feng Qi of hypocrisy, and criticizing him for not daring to come to the Chiao family to slay the demon, but only bullying the weak and isolated heavenly demon. The peacekeeping gang and the Chiao family were at each other's throats, hurling insults back and forth. A major battle seemed imminent. There were even bets placed on the outcome between the two sides. Then, a letter from Chiao Pingzhong to Feng Qi about the self-torture strategy quietly leaked from the peacekeeping gang. All the voices against the Chiao family disappeared overnight. Chapter 70, Puzzle. This is very embarrassing. Why is Feng Qi so careless? How could such an important letter be leaked? Shouldn't it have been burned after reading? It was such a wonderful performance that fooled everyone. If the truth is revealed in the end, after getting rid of the heavenly demon, and both sides shake hands and reconcile, it would be a legendary story that will be passed down through the ages. How did the secret letter get exposed? What will happen to the Chiao family if this spreads? I didn't expect Chiao Pingzhong to be a good person. It's a pity that a great show ended completely because of a small accident. Feng Qi shouldn't have let such an important letter leak out, let alone let it spread everywhere. It is said that the heavenly demon hidden in the peacekeeping gang did it. The heavenly demon's supernatural powers are unstoppable. This letter was supposed to be burned, but I don't know how the heavenly demon managed to restore it. In that case, it's not Feng Qi's fault. Who could have expected it? It can only be said that the heavenly demon is too cunning. Both sides are still quiet now. They probably don't know how to continue the show. The Chiao family is finished. They recruited so many heavenly demons. Once they know the truth, those heavenly demons will surely devour the Chiao family alive. I even wrote a letter to insult Chiao Pingzhong. Should I write another letter to apologize to the Chiao family? It's too late to write a letter now. If you burn a letter and send it over, Chiao Pingzhong might still be able to see it. What are you talking about? We have to find a way to fix this. There were discussions among the people. Shortly after the secret letter was leaked, the patrolling inspection team of the peacekeeping gang quickly took action and tore down the letters posted on the streets, and immediately released a rumor-denying announcement. They claimed that the secret letter incident was fabricated by the Chiao family to whitewash themselves, and urged everyone not to believe it. The Chiao family was still the hypocritical family that sheltered the heavenly demon, and Chiao Pingzhong was the #1 hypocrite in the world. But this remedial measure was full of loopholes and couldn't withstand scrutiny. There was a strong sense of cover-up. The sympathy for the Chiao family among the people grew stronger. Many commoners even went to the peacekeeping gang, asking Feng Qi to save the Chiao family, fearing that they would be too late and the Chiao family would be destroyed. The Chiao family recruited more than 60 heavenly demons. Most of these heavenly demons were from Du Ji's territory. The methods of the peacekeeping gang's inspection team were too ruthless. If there was any suspicion, they would exterminate them without mercy. What was even more despicable was that even their own relatives and loved ones, they had to face them with their loved ones' faces. Even if they changed their souls, it was still a longing to see their loved ones' faces every day. But for a little money, these people would betray them without hesitation, and unfortunately, they couldn't withstand the verification of the inspection team. It was impossible to grow in such a hostile environment. Going to the simulation field was a chance for anyone with ambition. Who wouldn't want to compete for the top 10 in the simulation field? Even if they had bad luck and were assigned a keyword that had no potential, they couldn't compete for the top 10, but being able to survive in the simulation field until the end was still worth it. But Feng Qi, that damn guy, even cut off their chance to survive. The Chiao family's declaration was their last straw for survival. Even if the Chiao family might have ulterior motives, the pitiful heavenly demons still ran to the Chiao family to seek refuge. Their hatred for Feng Qi surpassed everything. As long as they could get rid of him and vent their anger, even if they were used by the Chiao family, it would be worth it. If they could use the power of the Chiao family and make it to the top 10 in the simulation field, it would be a huge profit. After Feng Qi overturned the table, the survival rules they learned in school were no longer effective. They had to stick together. The Chiao family was also helpful. After understanding their attributes, the Chiao family specially arranged a trial ground for them and promised that the Chiao family's holy land would also be open to them. Everything was like being in heaven. They even secretly agreed on a strategy. After helping the Chiao family get rid of Feng Qi, the remaining people would compete among themselves for the top 10 in the simulation field, and each would have their own destiny. In short, the absolute priority was to not let Feng Qi, who overturned the table, leave the simulation field as one of the top 10. They could lose in the simulation field, but Feng Qi must die. But just a few days after their leisurely days, the heavenly demons learned about the Chiao family and Feng Qi plan. Under the influence of rumors, in an instant, the Chiao family's camp of heavenly demons exploded. Damn it, it's already unlucky enough to be assigned a sad keyword. I just wanted to survive until the end in the simulation field. This damn Feng Qi wants to exterminate us. I hope I don't find out his identity in reality. A participant named Liu Jingping became furious. At this moment, despair filled his heart. The sadness in his heart surged like a river, and his stagnant attribute inexplicably improved. Liu Jingping couldn't help but be stunned. Damn it, the skill of a grieving soldier is to win. What kind of bullshit advanced skill is this? Exactly. I'll say it straight, my keyword is disguise. With so many of us, let's find a way to kill Chiao Pingzhong. I will play his role and fight Feng Qi with real weapons. I can't betray everyone. With so many of us, we can't be defeated by Feng Qi and his two companions. A participant named Ji Ping stood up angrily. Is it possible that this is Feng Qi's scheme to sow discord? A heavenly demon timidly asked. Chiao Pingzhong has been good to us. Is it too much to harm him because of a secret letter? Do we have to wait for him to join forces with Feng Qi and raise the butcher's knife against us? A female participant named Sang Yan smashed a flower pot nearby. I'm tired of this weak and pathetic life. We are heavenly demons, why should we be commanded by a native? Everyone, calm down. My keyword is instigation. I will go find the leader of the beggars sect and see if I can persuade him to join us and replace the Chiao family. A participant named Zhang Wei said, I don't believe that Feng Qi can bribe all the sects even after joining forces with the Chiao family. I'll go too. My keyword is persuasion, which can increase the success rate of diplomacy. Another heavenly demon said. My keyword is peace. Am I useless now? Then let's capture Chiao Pingzhong's wife and daughter, and threaten him to stand with us. Not only the heavenly demon protected by the Chiao family. The beggars sect, Azure Dragon Gang, Tian Shan sect, and other martial sects that had arrived early at the Chiao family also felt they had been played. One by one, they ran to find Xiao Pingzhang, demanding him to explain the truth. The Chiao family was in chaos. At this moment, watching the suddenly chaotic Chiao family, Xiao Pingzhang, who was hiding in the side courtyard, was as anxious as an ant on a hot pot. He paced back and forth, "Mr. Zhao, Feng Qi is truly cunning, resorting to such dirty tactics to sow discord. Mr. Zhao, you can't believe Feng Qi. You know the details of the Chiao family, how could I possibly write such a letter to him?" Mr. Zhao was a young man, looking about 24 or 5 years old. He took the secret letter from Xiao Pingjiang's hand, crumpled it into a ball, and threw it on the ground, saying, "Family Master, my supernatural power is Wenta, which can see through all conspiracies. How could I not know that this is Feng Qi poisonous scheme? If I didn't trust the Family Master, I wouldn't have come to join you." Xiao Pingzhang worriedly said, "But what about the heavenly demons in the mansion? They no longer trust me. How could they fall for such a crude scheme? How could they be so naive? It might be the supernatural power of the heavenly demons. Family Master, don't panic, I'll go and explain to them. My supernatural power, will you, can increase their trust in me, and I can persuade them." Seeing Xiao Pingzhang still anxious, he raised his voice, "Family Master, don't mess up our plans. The major sects are rushing here. Once we gather all the forces in the martial world, we can kill Feng Qi, and the rumors will naturally fall apart. As long as we hold steady, the one who can't sit still will definitely be Feng Qi. Will the martial arts tournament of the Chiao family be affected by this?" Xiao Pingjiang's mood slightly eased, asking. "Family Master, rest assured, it won't mess up the Chiao family's century-old plan. Feng Qi power has been established, if we can't break his attributes, we can't break his martial strength. We also need to borrow the power of the martial saint to kill Feng Qi." Mr. Zhao looked at Xiao Pingzhang and calmly said, he glanced at Xiao Pingzhang, "Family Master, I still have to remind you, there's no one here, it's okay to talk about it, but don't mention the resurrection of the martial saint too much in the Chiao family. Things are accomplished in secret, the heavenly demons are sharp-eared and bright-eyed, if they find out about this, I'm afraid they will really cause chaos." Xiao Pingzhang sighed dejectedly, "Poor me, Xiao, has been upright all my life, but for the sake of my ancestors, I have to engage in these conspiracies, I feel guilty. In times of chaos, the Chiao family has provided shelter for the heavenly demons, which is already a great kindness and righteousness. It's just using a part of their blood, and it won't take their lives. Killing Feng Qi will also bring them peace and happiness. I believe they will all understand the Family Master in the end." Mr. Zhao said, "Family Master, you don't need to feel guilty about this. Mr. Zhao, I'll ask you one last time, is the blood of the heavenly demons really more vital than the blood of young martial artists? The Chiao family has risked the world's great disapproval to protect the heavenly demons, you could say we've bet everything. If the ancestor can't be resurrected, Xiao Pingzhang asked. "Family Master, we're already tied together. The stronger the Chiao family is, the stronger I can be. Why would I deceive you?" Mr. Zhao looked at Xiao Pingzhang and said, "The heavenly demons can improve their own physique, the higher the attribute, the greater the change, their blood vitality is many times stronger than ordinary people. If we can trick the three of Feng Qi to kill them, perhaps their blood alone is enough to resurrect the martial saint. I mean..." Xiao Pingzhang was about to speak, but was interrupted by Mr. Zhao before he could open his mouth. "Family Master, if Feng Qi ends up controlling the world, let alone the martial arts tournament, the Chiao family might not even exist. Then the Chiao family's century-long plan would be in vain." Mr. Zhao looked at Xiao Pingzhang and calmly said, "Eliminate Feng Qi, resurrect the martial saint, bestow grace on the heavenly demons, multiple gains in one move. If we can succeed, no one can shake the title of the Chiao family being the first family. Family Master, only those with a firm heart can achieve great things. This is the last chance, we can only win, not lose. But the current situation, sects like Kunlun might also watch and wait, they won't easily come to the Chiao family." Xiao Pingzhang worriedly said. "I've got everything under control. Don't forget, my keyword is strategy, I naturally have an advantage in layout." Mr. Zhao confidently laughed, "Feng Qi move also gave us an opportunity, we can use his scheme against him, and lure Feng Qi into the trap." End of this chapter. Chapter 71, of course, it was reckless. Brother Qi, the Qiao family is in chaos. Even Qiao Pingjiang's wife and children have been captured. Your consecutive strategies are truly brilliant. The enemy is in disarray without any attack. I admire you. Here are the keywords that I have manipulated for you while looking through the information about the Qiao family. Excitedly flipping through the intelligence about the Qiao family, Feng Zhong said, the public's demand for us to save the Qiao family is increasing. Let's take advantage of the chaos and bring people to attack, holding high the banner of justice and maintaining stability in the martial world. Once we attack, it will confirm the good reputation of the Qiao family, guaranteeing that not a single person from the Qiao family will survive. Killing a chicken to warn the monkeys, let's see which sect dares to help the heavenly demon. It's fake. Du Ji opened his personal ranking and looked at the numbers on it calmly. None of the simulation field participants have died, the Beggars sect and Azure Dragon gang have not withdrawn from the Qiao family, and the Kunlun and other sects are still on their way to the Qiao family. Therefore, the chaos in the Qiao family is just a show for us. Idiot! Wang San sneered disdainfully. Feng Zhong's face turned red suddenly, and he said embarrassedly, I almost got fooled by them. Fortunately, Brother Seven is wise. In times of great events, one must remain calm. The more chaotic it gets, the more we need to calm down, so as not to let excitement cloud our judgment. Du Ji closed his personal interface. There are at least dozens of heavenly demons in the Qiao family, and there are probably also the top 10 participants in the simulation field. It's not surprising that they can decipher our strategies. Brother Qi, what should we do now? Feng Zhong asked. After eliminating some useless keywords, there are still at least a dozen useful keywords on the Qiao family's side. Who knows, they might have skills that can counter us. Can we defeat them? There won't be a dozen. At most, there will be 2 or 3 who can compete with us. They are the ones who set up this trap in the Qiao family. Only those who are incapable will rely on the protection of the Qiao family. Du Ji said, true masters will not actively participate. For example, you, ranked 3rd on the leaderboard, would you pay attention to the Qiao family's announcement? After a moment of silence, Feng Zhong said, I will watch the show from the sidelines and profit from it. Du Ji lightly tapped the table with his finger and suddenly changed the topic. What do you guys think? Why has the Qiao family been persistently holding the martial arts tournament for the past 100 years and only allowing young people under the age of 25 to enter the Qiao family's holy land? He remembered what Feng Zhu had said about the mainline of the world when he first crossed over. On Earth, whether it was an online game or a single-player game, most of them had a mainline mission. No matter what the characters you controlled did along the way, they would eventually converge on the mainline. This was the simulation field, not a real world. Even the government was downplayed. So, it was normal to have a mainline mission. The people who set up the trap in the Qiao family should have taken advantage of this. And the path he was taking could be said to be creating his own mainline. Although he was enjoying himself, he realized that it seemed a bit off. But he couldn't blame himself. The simulation field was too realistic. The people inside had flesh and blood, and it was easy for him to feel that this was a real world. It seemed normal to deviate from the right path. It is said that after Qiao He died, he found that there was no one in the Qiao family who could inherit his mantle. In order to ensure the long-lasting continuation of the family, he made this strategy. Feng Zhong said, the sects that obtained the martial arts secrets from the Qiao family's holy land would be grateful to the Qiao family. In case of any mishap, they would not harm the Qiao family. 100 years is enough time to continue for 5 generations if it's fast. Du Ji said, the Huashan and Taishan sects, for example, have never produced a genius like Qiao He, but they still stand strong. Qiao He almost dominated the entire era. I don't believe he couldn't do it. So, the so-called Qiao family's holy land and the martial arts tournament held every few years must be a conspiracy. Thinking about it, it does seem abnormal. Wang San said, before, I thought the mainline of the world was all the simulation field participants participating in the martial arts tournament held by the Qiao family, competing for rankings on the martial arts stage. The people behind the Qiao family should have taken advantage of this conspiracy and pushed the Qiao family against the peacekeeping sect. Du Ji said, otherwise, even if the peacekeeping sect rose, they should have tried to contact us first instead of suddenly becoming so aggressive, opposing us for a group of heavenly demons they don't even know. Qiao Pingjiang is not Qiao He. Brother Qi, what do you think the conspiracy is? Feng Zhong asked with renewed interest. If the other side can take advantage of it, can't we also take advantage of it? His skill was manipulation, but not all of it was provoked by Du Ji. Compared to Wang San, he was the one who had been lying down all the way, a proper tool. I think the martial saint might not be dead. Du Ji thought for a moment and gave a conclusion. Brother Qi, this is a bit outrageous. Previously, whether we framed others or shifted blame, there was still some theoretical basis for it, making it look plausible. Feng Zhong shook his head, but if the martial saint is not dead, it's a bit absurd. This is a Wuxia world, not a Xiangxia world. If the martial saint didn't die, wouldn't he be over 200 years old now? No one would believe it if we said it. Then you don't know that there is a Zhang Sanfan on earth. After being studied by a group of people, that old Taoist has already lived for over 200 years. Du Ji glanced at him and said, a person's energy is limited. The Qiao family's holy land has been producing martial arts secrets for so many years. Are they all written by Qiao He before he died? He smiled and recalled the routines in Earth's movies and TV shows, saying, in this world, Qiao He has become a legend. Since he is a legend, he cannot be measured by ordinary standards. Maybe he is hiding in the Qiao family's holy land, studying unique techniques similar to Dao heart cultivation of demons or soul transference technique, ready to possess a new body at any time. Holding the martial arts tournament every few years is to select the most outstanding young people in the martial world as suitable candidates for body possession. Now that there are so many outstanding heavenly demons in the world, they are obviously more valuable for body possession than ordinary people. Thinking about it this way, it does seem reasonable. Feng Zhong nodded. So, how can we take advantage of this? Utilize what? Didn't the Qiao family run into trouble? We can just barge in, eliminate the heavenly demons causing trouble in the Qiao family in the name of peacekeeping, and rescue the Qiao family. Du Ji crossed his arms and said, the big conspiracy should be revealed at the end for it to be interesting. Perhaps, by then, we can even make use of the experts from sects like the Beggars sect and Kunlun. I just said we should go and kill them. Feng Zhong grumbled, Brother 7, the Qiao family has at least dozens of heavenly demons, and there's one secretly making arrangements. You also said that other experts might be secretly watching, waiting to reap the benefits. If we go there, wouldn't we be falling right into their trap? Contestants in the simulation field need to have compatible attributes to grow. What can those heavenly demons crammed in the Qiao family do? My recklessness is different from yours. We openly mobilize the experts from the peacekeeping force to attract their attention. In secret, the three of us sneak in and launch a surprise attack, killing as many as we can. We previously set up such a sophisticated plan, making them think we would rely on the power of the peacekeeping force, but we will do the exact opposite. Du Ji looked at the two of them and said seriously, as long as we eliminate enough people, our strength will increase. Those who are lurking in the dark will have to make a move. If they don't, once we deal with the Qiao family, they will lose their chance. In fact, those who are making arrangements in the Qiao family also know that the Qiao family is the final battleground, no one can stay out of it. Final battleground. Feng Zhong swallowed, it's not even a month yet, isn't it too early for the finals? It would be great if it could end in a month. Du Ji laughed, don't think that because we have the upper hand now, we will always have it. We have already shown our cards. Everyone knows the keywords. Once others get the chance to grow, those relying on the peacekeeping force won't be able to hold on. When those who survive adapt to the world and secretly set fires on our territory, wearing down our strength, what will we do then? Play firefighters. The later it gets, the more passive we become. Chapter 72, Raid Camp. We're so unlucky to encounter someone like Feng Qi. He's causing trouble for everyone, and it's really frustrating. I have nothing to do with Feng Qi. As a man, being assigned the keyword virtuous in the simulation field is just as unlucky for anyone. Right now, I just hope that the Qiao family can kill Feng Qi and let me enjoy a few more days in the simulation field. We're in the same boat. My keyword is tender. You two could make a pair, and it wouldn't be a bad idea. Get lost. What's there to be proud of, you clown? Outside the Qiao family's heavenly demon camp. Du Ji listened to the strange conversation inside and was speechless. At this moment, he finally had a full understanding of the unreliability of the keywords. Compared to the tender and virtuous keywords, Wang San's sickly adorable keyword could indeed be considered a high-quality one. This game really relied on luck. He pondered for a long time, not knowing how a man could fully utilize the tender and virtuous keywords. No wonder Feng Zhong said they should eliminate some useless keywords. Before, he thought that even the most useless keywords could still have a slight effect. Now it seemed that he was thinking too much. Some keywords were truly useless no matter how hard one tried. Eliminating a group through body possession, eliminating another group due to various reasons after body possession, these people with garbage keywords didn't have the qualifications to compete for rankings. Calculating, it was estimated that out of the 3,000 people in the simulation field, the number of people who truly qualified for the final competition would not exceed 100. Designing such an unfair simulation field, could it really select talents? Brother Qi, what are they doing inside? Feng Zhong asked in a low voice. After successfully recruiting the Huashan and Taishan sects, expanding the territory of the peacekeeping sect, Du Ji's attributes had improved a lot. However, there were no significant improvements in his senses. It should be the limitations of human organs that restricted the improvement of senses. They had conducted experiments. Du Ji's hearing could cover a radius of 1 kilometer, capturing every detail, and even achieve sound positioning. But Wang San, who ranked second in the simulation field, could only cover a range of 200 meters with his hearing. Feng Zhong was similar to Wang San, probably because their attributes were close. The difference between them was 5 times, and they couldn't achieve precise sound positioning like Du Ji. The reason was unknown. Du Ji didn't ask further. Some secrets were better kept hidden. So, at this moment, Du Ji was like a human listening device. He could hear sounds that the other two couldn't. They couldn't hear, let alone those who ranked lower. There's nothing much. The heavenly demon camp is indeed filled with people with garbage keywords. This place should be kept as bait, and the useful people should be in another place, Du Ji whispered. How garbage are they? Tell us and let us have a good laugh. Feng Zhong laughed. In every simulation field, there are always many unfortunate ones. Even if they have good grades in school, it's useless if they are assigned a garbage keyword. Fate is really cruel. They are keywords like virtuous, tender, suffering, fragile, and so on, Du Ji said. That's really garbage. Feng Zhong paused for a moment and said, garbage exists every year, but it's different every year. Being assigned a garbage keyword in the simulation field is not a big deal, but randomly getting such a garbage keyword in the alien star battlefield can really be fatal. I pray that luck will always be with me. Wang San, who had been silent, said, Brother Qi, let them be. They can't cause much trouble anyway. Let them enjoy their time in the simulation field. Everyone inside wants us dead, Du Ji said. Wang San hesitated, his mouth twitched, and he lowered his eyelids, then let's kill them. The 3 of them were about to take action when Du Ji suddenly stopped. What's wrong? Feng Zhong asked. We don't need to do anything, Du Ji said. The 2 of them were puzzled. Look at the rankings, Du Ji said. Feng Zhong and Wang San quickly opened their personal interfaces. Then, both of them were stunned. The number of people in the simulation field was rapidly decreasing. In just a moment, it had dropped from 127 to 115, 108, 103. Almost 1 change per second. What are they doing? Feng Zhong was bewildered. Blaming others and increasing their attributes, Du Ji could clearly hear the commotion inside and immediately gave the answer, there are 2 people in total. When one of them takes action, the other doesn't. One is controlling the situation, while the other is imitating me and attacking from behind. Tomorrow, news of Feng Qi night attack on the heavenly demon camp will probably spread in the Chiao family. Damn it, Feng Zhong cursed. Du Ji shook his head, by doing this, they can stimulate the other participants' hostility and force the wandering participants outside to join them. It can also make the Beggars sect and other martial arts sects feel threatened, increase their patrol efforts, and achieve multiple goals. It's just that some useless participants have died. Brother Qi, that person inside must have a keyword related to ferocity and killing, Feng Zhong said. Before he finished speaking, Du Ji had already rushed out, disappearing into the night, and the 2 quickly followed. Praying mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the aureole behind. At this moment, the person sent to increase attributes by killing must be an important figure in the opponent's team. They couldn't let him escape. When Du Ji approached the heavenly demon camp within 80 meters, the person guarding the camp gate reacted and panicked, immediately sounding the alarm, Feng Qi is here, come, save me. His speech was extremely slow, and when he spoke, he turned and ran towards the camp. His turning motion was similar to that of a sloth. The moment he opened his mouth, Du Ji's figure sank, and his lightning-fast speed suddenly decreased by 10 times, to the point where one could see his running body with the naked eye. Feng Zhong and Wang San, who were following behind him, suffered. Their originally agile movements became slow after decreasing by 10 times, almost like jogging for normal people. Slow-witted. Feng Zhong's face suddenly changed. Brother 7, quickly kill him. His keyword is slow-witted, a pure combat support keyword. I like you, baby, don't run away. Wang San also started to use the fear of charm. But both of them only managed to say half of their sentences before returning to normal. Because that guy had completed his turn, exposing his back to Du Ji. Du Ji swiftly pounced on him, piercing his heart with a sword, and reaping his life. Before the man took his last breath, he turned his head with difficulty, his eyes full of disbelief. How could you be so fast? Because you don't know how high my attributes are. Du Ji gave him an explanation, pulled out his long sword, and looked at the guy who was killing people with a sword in the camp. That man stood among a pile of corpses, his eyes blood red, looking at Du Ji with a shocked expression. You weren't suppressed by the slow. Before he could finish his sentence, Du Ji had already flashed in front of him, thrusting his sword. The slowness at the entrance taught Du Ji a lesson. The keywords were strange and bizarre, killing one less was always good. If the opponent gathered more people, who knew what outrageous derivative skills might be born among this group. A violent aura emanated from the opponent. A sense of fear inexplicably rose in Du Ji's heart, as if he was facing a demon who had killed countless people. At this moment, he seemed to understand the feelings of those who were affected by the fear of charm. The fear brought by the opponent should be different from Wang San's, at least he didn't want to flee. The opponent was exuding a peculiar aura of looking down on everything, daring you to make a move, and capable of tearing you to pieces. With this aura, he dodged Du Ji's sword aimed at his heart, and swung his sword towards Du Ji's head. The narrow blade was used by him with the heaviness of a cleaver. Sharp. Ruthless. Like a storm rushing towards Du Ji. Good brother, how could you kill people here? Wang San's gloomy voice sounded timely. The man was inexplicably panicked, his violent aura was instantly interrupted, and Du Ji deflected his long sword with a single stroke. The next second, a flash of gold light had already cut through his throat. Can it be done from the front? The man looked at Du Ji, struggling to spit out a few words, and fell to the ground unwillingly, being eliminated. Brother 7, we made the right choice. They even have a combat combination. If we give them more time to grow, they might really be able to turn the tables. Feng Zhong stood next to Du Ji, looking at the bodies on the ground, his expression somewhat serious. Only one female contestant was left in the heavenly demon camp. She looked at the bodies on the ground, then at Feng Qi, sighed sadly, raised her hand, and squeezed out a smile. Feng Qi, my keyword is awkward, can I live? I can sleep with you, and also provide you with information. Putting sleeping together before providing information, is this your way of using keywords? Indeed, it's quite awkward. Du Ji glanced at her and asked, how many people are left on the Chiao family's side? End of the chapter. Chapter 73, Killing Game. Mr. Zhao is in charge of the overall situation. His current identity is the strategist of the Chiao family, and the keyword seems to be strategy. All the plans are proposed by him, the female contestant said. The day before yesterday, he took away all the people who had advanced skills, probably more than 10 of them. Strategy. Feng Zhong muttered, sounds more advanced than me. No wonder he can counter our plans. Is there more? Du Ji asked while picking up a corpse from the ground and then picking up a weapon to nail it straight to the courtyard wall. Feng Zhong and Wang San were stunned for a moment, and immediately followed suit, nailing corpses in various corners of the courtyard, on the walls, and on the pillars. These corpses that were nailed up had one thing in common, they all faced outward with their backs. The female contestant looked at the actions of the several people in astonishment, blinked, and continued, there is someone named Ji Ping, the keyword is disguise, can imitate anyone, someone named Sang Yan, who likes to smash things, the keyword should be related to destruction. Someone named Liu Jingping, the keyword is sadness, awakened the skill of grief soldiers are victorious. There is also someone named Zhang Wei, he said his keyword is instigation, and there is someone whose keyword is persuasion. Suddenly, Du Ji's ears moved. The voice of the female contestant on the opposite side suddenly disappeared, she opened her mouth, but no sound could be heard. Get ready, someone is coming, Du Ji reminded. But after speaking, he didn't make any sound either. Du Ji couldn't help but be stunned, and he clearly saw Feng Zhong's mouth shape seemed to be saying the word silence. A trace of anxiety flashed in Wang San's eyes. He couldn't speak, and his skill was restrained again. The fear of Jiao must be specified to the object he liked. Fortunately, he had just used his skill once, the corpse was still there, and the outbreak of Jiao was still in the activation state. Otherwise, in this battle, he would become a definite burden. But now, without his support, the combat effectiveness of their team would also be greatly reduced. The other side was too well prepared. He came to Du Ji's front and silently said, "Brother Qi, kill silence first." Du Ji nodded with a smile. Clap! 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 Applause rang out, and many people, both men and women, flooded into the courtyard. There were also some beggars or knights holding knives and guns, flipping over the courtyard wall one after another, surrounding Du Ji and the others in the middle. The leader was a young man in his mid-20s. He stood opposite Du Ji, smiling at him. "Feng Qi, you are indeed bold. I calculated everything, but I didn't expect you to dare to launch a sneak attack. I arranged a play of assassinating my own people. If I had known you were coming, I would have left these guys for you, the real protagonist, to deal with." Du Ji looked at him with a smile. "Oh, I forgot, you can't speak." Mr. Zhao patted his own head, spreading his hands. "Do you think I am well prepared? Yes, you are indeed strong, but you made a mistake by being too ostentatious. It's too easy to find ways to restrain you. I know you want to launch a quick attack and solve your hidden dangers. If the blitzkrieg is not done well, it will backfire." Spit! Du Ji spat at him lightly and mouthed two words to him, "Idiot." Not being able to make a sound doesn't mean you can't mock the enemy. But if it weren't for you causing such a big commotion, I wouldn't have been able to gather so many people. Speaking of which, I have to thank you. Mr. Zhao laughed. "Actually, if you were a little more moderate in your methods, you could have picked us off one by one. But your appearance is too ugly, cutting off everyone's way out, forcing everyone to stick together. Even if you are eliminated, you can still be proud. Because you will become an excellent negative example, remembered by every future examinee. No, heavenly demon, ha ha ha. Fake." Du Ji silently said two words again. The expression on Mr. Zhao's face changed, and he waved his hand, "Kill him." Liu Jingping, who was standing beside him, sneered, and tears flowed down his face. At the same time tears flowed from his eyes. Everyone on the opposite side, whether beggars or knights, couldn't help but burst into tears. The scene that was normal just now suddenly became heavy. Damn it! Is this the power of grief? Soldiers are victorious? Is the external performance so exaggerated? Du Ji cursed inwardly, locked his gaze on a motionless person in the crowd, aimed at a certain corpse that he had nailed to the courtyard wall earlier, and launched a sudden backstab. Swoosh! His figure suddenly disappeared from in front of everyone. In the next instant, he had already returned behind the unmoving person, piercing his heart with a sword. A scream! Everyone was startled, and chaos ensued. Damn it, corpses can be used too. Sang Yan, destroy the corpses quickly, Mr. Zhao said tearfully, giving orders urgently. But the next second, he couldn't speak anymore. It wasn't silence, but Du Ji sticking to his back. A sword pierced his heart. At the moment he fell, the muscles on his face twitched, and he had turned into another person. Du Ji glanced at him, shook his head, and thought that the skill of disguise was so arrogant, yet he still wanted to stick with others. It's overestimating yourself, idiot. But the greater good is more important. Du Ji couldn't continue to evaluate his intelligence, turned around, and killed others. His speed was too fast. No one with their back facing him could escape his assassination. Even if there was temporarily no one with their back facing him, he could use the corpses on the wall to turn around and it would be enough. In the blink of an eye, 1/3 of the people in the courtyard were gone. The power of grief soldiers are victorious increased the combat effectiveness of everyone, but Du Ji's attributes were extremely high. With the help of backstabbing, these people couldn't react at all. It was a one-sided slaughter. However, the effect of silence was still in effect. Obviously, Du Ji had killed the wrong person at the beginning. Wang San and Feng Zhong worked together seamlessly. Feng Zhong's spiritual finger was responsible for deflecting the opponent's weapons, while Wang San's explosive charm was responsible for killing. Both of them had high attributes, and there were no keywords like slow to suppress them. For a while, the martial artists couldn't do anything to them. However, the scene of their battle was somewhat strange. A group of people were crying, and whenever their weapons were deflected by Feng Zhong, they would involuntarily let out a cry of pleasure, then twist a little, and step onto the road to the underworld, as if they had died happily. The sounds were also awkward. When their weapons were deflected by Feng Zhong, they would let out a cry of ah. When they were killed by Wang San, they would let out a painful scream of ah. 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 Ying ah. The strange sounds were incessant, and the martial artists who were besieging them were about to go mad. If it weren't for the surging fighting spirit supporting them, preventing them from retreating. At this moment, they would have run away. They felt that they were not worthy to participate in the battle of the heavenly demon. Suddenly, from the shadow behind Wang San, a figure sprang out, with a dagger aimed straight at Wang San's heart. Du Ji, who had a panoramic view of the field from behind, noticed the moment Wang San was attacked. He had already returned using the body nailed behind Wang San. The moment the dagger stabbed Wang San, his long sword pierced through the shadow's heart first. Wang San broke out in a cold sweat and gave Du Ji a grateful look. He opened his mouth to use his charm of fear to assist, but he couldn't make any sound, which made him stamp his feet in anxiety. While Du Ji was rescuing Wang San, Sang Yan suddenly bent down, pressing her palm towards the nearest corpse. Bang! The corpse suddenly exploded into pieces. The explosion of the corpse triggered a chain reaction. All the corpses in the field, like ignited firecrackers, crackled and exploded in a chain. In an instant, all the corpses in the courtyard were blown into pieces, and a rain of blood fell over everyone's heads. Mr. Zhao, isn't this Feng Qi too powerful? On a tower outside the courtyard, Xiao Pingzhong looked at the bloody scene in the courtyard, his throat dry. Even if our ancestor is resurrected, I'm afraid he's no match for him. Yes, he's too powerful. Mr. Zhao's face didn't look too good either, and he even used silence to suppress Wang San. How did he grow so much in just 1 month? It's terrifying. If we can't kill him this time, everyone might as well surrender. Mr. Zhao, you've done a great job. Unfortunately, Shi Yang, who had the slow attribute, was killed by him in advance. Otherwise, if his speed was suppressed by slow, your killing game against him would have worked. He's just too lucky. Xiao Pingzhong sighed. Standing next to the two of them was a petite woman who remained silent from beginning to end. For the sake of my health, I decided to adjust my schedule back to daytime yesterday, but then I received a reward from Zebra 9353. My schedule is messed up again. This afternoon, I'll continue to add more for the Alliance leader. Chapter 74, Inception. There. Du Ji, with sharp ears and eyes, locked onto Mr. Zhao's position the moment he spoke. Seeing Mr. Zhao's location, Du Ji frowned. That guy must have carefully studied his skills and knew that most of his sudden attacks came from behind, and he couldn't use lightness skill. So he chose the complex terrain of the high tower as his hiding place. This way, even if he could break through the encirclement and rush up the high tower, he could still escape calmly. If he set up a few traps in the high tower, maybe he could bury him. Just like how Bai Yutang and 3 heroes and 5 gallants was ambushed and killed by traps when he attacked the Night Talk Tower, pierced by 10,000 swords. Indeed, there are drawbacks to being too fast. If he had focused on practicing martial arts for 3 to 5 months, this wouldn't be a difficult problem. Of course, if he had truly focused on martial arts, he wouldn't have achieved what he has now. You can't have your cake and eat it too. There are indeed experts in the simulation field. No. Since there is a high tower, why would they let these people besiege him in the courtyard? From Mr. Zhao's position, he could clearly see his actions of hanging corpses, but he still let people attack the courtyard, clearly sending those people to their deaths. Just like the guy who tried to assassinate Wang San in secret, if the terrain had been different, he might have succeeded. Moreover, killing these people would also increase his attributes. There must be something wrong here. He wouldn't do this without benefits. Is his keyword really strategy? Du Ji's mind was spinning quickly, but it didn't hinder him from killing. His attribute values were too high. Even if Sang Yan destroyed the corpses he used for teleportation, those people still couldn't stop him. At most, they caused some trouble. With a slight turn, he could find an opportunity to strike. Liu Jingping, Sang Yan, and the others didn't have time to grow. They relied entirely on advanced skills to support their attacks. The main force of the attack was actually the martial arts experts from various sects. With the support of the morning soldiers' must-win skill, their martial arts were on par with Zhong Gui. More than 10 days ago, perhaps they could have caused him some trouble if they had joined forces. But now, they weren't his opponents even in a direct confrontation. Especially after he threw 2 flying knives, killing Liu Jingping and breaking their morning soldiers' must-win skill, the speed and morale of these heroes suddenly dropped by a large margin. They were even less of a match for him. With a few more moves in the courtyard, Du Ji could take away a life. At this moment, Du Ji was more like Lin Pingzi, who had practiced the evil-dispelling sword manual, relying solely on the word fast to dominate the world. Of course, he was much faster than Lin Pingzi. Unfortunately, he couldn't speak. Otherwise, with such a huge advantage, with his eloquence, there was a high probability that he could persuade these people to join his side. Even so, after 3 to 5 minutes, there were not many people left standing in the courtyard. At the same time, at the Kunlun sect's residence, where the Chiao family was located, the usually calm and old-fashioned senior brother suddenly shouted not good and rushed out of the tent. But soon, he returned and entered the tent of the Kunlun sect leader in a hurry, saying, "Master, something has happened to the Chiao family. We need to hurry over, or it will be too late. Yinglong, you have always emphasized cleanliness and rules. Why are you so flustered now?" The Kunlun sect leader, Huo Yuki, looked at his senior disciple with confusion. "And how did you know that something happened to the Chiao family?" Suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something and stood up abruptly, frowning as he looked at Yinglong. "A month ago, you went out to gain experience, and when you returned, your demands for the sex rules became even stricter. Could it be that you have been possessed by the heavenly demon?" "Yes, Master, I have possessed Yinglong. At that time, he was fighting with an enemy and accidentally fell off a cliff. If it weren't for me possessing him, he would have died long ago," Yinglong said anxiously. Clang! Huo Yuki drew his long sword and pointed it at Yinglong's throat. "Master, although I have possessed senior brother, I have never done anything harmful to the Kunlun sect. On the contrary, under my guidance, the disciples' skills have been improving day by day. You have witnessed all of this." Yinglong ignored the sword at his throat and said, "Now, the Kunlun sect is facing the crisis of being wiped out. If you kill me, the Kunlun sect will be no more." "What do you mean?" Huo Yuki asked. At this moment, Feng Qi and the Chiao family's heavenly demon have already started fighting. Regardless of which side wins, their strength will definitely increase. With the heavenly demon's nature, they will surely sweep through the entire martial world. If we don't hurry over, we won't even have a chance to get a share of the pie," Yinglong said quickly. "You were the one who said we should sit back and watch the tigers fight, and now you're urging me to go to the Chiao family." Huo Yuki frowned. "Which one should I believe? Besides, how do you know that Feng Qi and the Chiao family are fighting? The heavenly demons can sense each other." Yinglong said, "At this moment, the number of heavenly demons in this world is rapidly decreasing. Master, why do you think Feng Qi wants to exterminate all the heavenly demons in the world? The heavenly demons can devour each other and eventually give birth to an unparalleled demon head. Therefore, I must participate in this struggle. Master, the Kunlun sect is my foundation, I will protect it, but Feng Qi and the people of the Chiao family will not. Master, we must get there before dawn, otherwise, it will be too late." Huo Yi glanced at Yinglong, silently sheathed his long sword, and said, "We can't make it in time. Even if we ride fast, it will take more than a day to reach the Chiao family, let alone it's night now, the horses can't run fast, we can't get there before dawn. We have to go even if we can't make it, what if we make it in time?" Upon hearing this news, Yinglong was almost in tears. He looked at the night sky, "Master, we can't just sit and wait for death, please, just the two of us, can you lead the way? If I can secure a position in the heavenly demon battle, I swear, I will protect the Kunlun sect for generations to come. Sigh. Huo Yi glanced at Ying Long, shook his head and sighed, you go prepare the horses, I will change my clothes and go with you. The same scene was also happening among the Bloodblade sect, Sushan sect, and other sects that were still on the road. One by one, fast horses set off from the inns and camps, heading straight for the Chiao family. At this moment, Du Ji had already killed all the heavenly demons in the courtyard and looked up towards the direction of the tower. Feng Zhong and Wang San, both injured, stood by Du Ji's side, followed his gaze, and also saw the people on the tower. Feng Zhong pointed at the tower, then pointed behind him, and mouthed, Brother Qi, it's about time, we should go. Du Ji opened his personal information and took a look. Inside the simulation field. At this moment, the number of surviving contestants was less than 40. The female contestant with the keyword was hiding in the corner, her eyes full of shock and admiration as she looked at Du Ji. Du Ji shook his head at Feng Zhong, stepped out of the courtyard, and walked straight towards Mr. Zhao. Having killed so many people, he felt his attributes had improved a lot. He decided to try the tower. If he didn't take this opportunity to get rid of Mr. Zhao and the female contestant with the silence keyword, he always felt a little uneasy. His lightness skill should be able to rush up from the outside of the tower. Feng Zhong and Wang San exchanged glances and followed behind Du Ji. The strategies and silence were too much for them. If Feng Qi died, they wouldn't survive either. The three of them had just stepped out of the courtyard. Mr. Zhao on the tower suddenly spoke, Brother Qi is indeed capable, killing heavenly demons as if cutting melons and vegetables. Du Ji glanced at him, holding his blood-dripping golden sun sword, and continued to walk forward. Mr. Zhao changed his tone, there are no eternal enemies, only eternal interests, Brother Qi, let's cooperate. Du Ji stopped, looking puzzledly at the tower. Mr. Zhao smiled and continued, Brother Qi, you may not know, the courtyard where you just killed people is the arena where the Chiao family has held martial arts contests over the years. Under the arena lies Martial Saint Chiao He, who has been dormant for 100 years. He needs to absorb the fresh blood of young people with high quality and vitality to revive. The Chiao family's martial arts contests over the past 100 years have been planned for this purpose. Now, dozens of heavenly demons, as well as young heroes from the Beggars sect, Tian Shan sect, and other sects, have been killed by you in the courtyard. Chiao He has absorbed so much vital blood, he should be reviving soon. Du Ji clearly saw Feng Zhong and Wang San simultaneously mouthing holy shit. With Brother Qi intelligence, you must understand. Chiao He is the endpoint of this simulation field assessment. As long as we kill the revived Chiao He, the simulation field will end immediately. Mr. Zhao looked smug, the three of you must be in the top 3 of the simulation field rankings, right? I am currently ranked 4th in the simulation field. The lady next to me with the silence keyword is ranked 9th in the simulation field. We have no intention of competing with Brother Qi for the first place. Next, as long as we join forces to kill Chiao He, those who are watching the fight and want to take advantage of the situation won't have time to interfere. Brother Qi will be the first, we will be in the top 10, everyone gets what they need, and everyone is happy. Brother Qi, what do you think of my plan? Clap. Clap. 2 claps. Xiao Pingzhong suddenly spoke, brilliant, brilliant, Mr. Zhao, indeed a good strategy, using my Chiao family as a stepping stone. Mr. Zhao's face changed, and he instinctively shielded the silent lady behind him, you're not poisoned. I, Xiao Pingzhong, am ranked 5th in the simulation field. Since I know what you're going to do, how could I be poisoned? Xiao Pingzhong winked at him and laughed. Damn! Mr. Zhao was stunned, cursed, and his tense expression relaxed. He smiled bitterly, you're the one with good acting skills, even I was fooled by you. What's your keyword? Xiao Pingzhong ignored him and looked at Du Ji, smiling, Mr. Qi, add me in, let's join forces. Chapter 75, Martial Saint Revival. If he hadn't come, today's massacre in the courtyard would have been a blood sacrifice to the Martial Saint, forcing the wandering players from the simulation field to take sides. But since he happened to come today, Mr. Zhao changed his plan accordingly. The ambush in the courtyard became targeted at him and Feng Zhong. Those people successfully killed themselves, the top 3 players in the simulation field were eliminated, and Mr. Zhao, who was 4th, was promoted to 1st place. The remaining resources were used to target the candidates who hadn't arrived yet and to plan the revival of the Martial Saint. If he killed all the sacrifices in the courtyard, Mr. Zhao would join forces with him to eliminate the revived martial saint, end the simulation field, eliminate the others, and maintain the current rankings. No matter which step he took, he wouldn't lose. Of course, there might be more to come. For example, during the process of killing the martial saint, or at the end, he could attack him and Feng Zhong, kill himself, inherit his attributes, and still be able to defeat the martial saint and become the first. No matter what the result was, everything he did would become his wedding dress, and he wouldn't lose. Indeed, a well-planned scheme. Du Ji looked at Mr. Zhao upstairs and instantly understood everything. He couldn't help but admire his intelligence. Within a month, he had joined the Chiao family, borrowed the Chiao family's power to help the peacekeeping, and set up such a big trap. Such a talent deserved to be his opponent. At this moment, Du Ji had almost figured out the rules of the simulation field. The main mission was over, the assessment was closed, and those who were trying to stabilize and develop themselves would be eliminated due to their rankings. The main mission was the real forced shrinking. To achieve a good ranking in the simulation field, players had to strengthen themselves step by step while approaching the main mission. In the end, all the strong would compete for rankings in the final round. This way, it would prevent anyone from endlessly dragging out battles in the simulation field for the sake of development. Having understood everything, Du Ji looked at the two old coins upstairs and nodded. Although this plan was more advantageous to Mr. Zhao, it didn't harm him either. By ending the simulation field in advance, his first place position would be secure. There was no reason for him to fear being fourth or fifth. With one punch, he could break through all obstacles. No matter what conspiracy or plan, it would ultimately come down to strength. Brother Qi is indeed decisive. Mr. Zhao seemed to have expected Du Ji's agreement early on. He clasped his fists and smiled, after leaving the simulation field, let's be friends. Du Ji pointed to the silent girl beside him. Mr. Zhao snapped his fingers. In the next moment, Du Ji regained his ability to speak. He looked at the people upstairs and asked, when will the martial saint revive? Wang San behind him reached out and gently tugged at Du Ji's clothes. When Du Ji turned around, he opened his mouth to indicate that he still couldn't speak. Mr. Zhao, what do you mean by this? Honesty is the premise of cooperation. Du Ji frowned and said discontentedly, Wang San is my assistant. If you don't let him go, I will be at a disadvantage when dealing with the martial saint, and my hands will be tied. Brother Qi, Wang San's mouth is too dangerous. We have to be cautious. After all, Brother Qi has fallen into the trap I designed step by step. With Brother Qi pride, there must be some resentment in his heart. Mr. Zhao said, I watched the battle just now. Brother Qi combat power alone is enough to suppress the entire field. If we let Wang San go, I'm afraid you can kill the three of us on the spot and then go one-on-one with the martial saint. We are already at the end of the simulation field, and I don't want to fail at the last moment. This is human nature, Brother Qi should understand, right? So you're saying that when fighting the martial saint, you don't plan to participate? Du Ji sneered. My keyword is strategy, and Little Shui's keyword is silence. Neither of us is good at fighting. If we go down to fight the martial saint with Brother Qi, it would be difficult for Brother Qi to handle. Mr. Zhao clasped his fists again and bowed to Du Ji, Brother Qi, I was being petty just now. How about this, after leaving the simulation field, I will host a banquet at home specifically to apologize to Brother Qi. Brother Qi is the first in the simulation field, and as a grown-up, you surely won't be so petty. Mr. Zhao, you should know that I have always been good to my own people. Moreover, my keyword is maintenance. The more people I have to maintain around me, the stronger I become. Du Ji smiled, since we have already formed a team, what else do you have to worry about? Can I still assassinate you and weaken my own attributes during the battle? There is only one person in the world who can use maintenance so powerfully, and that is Brother Qi. Mr. Zhao shook his head and smiled, how about this, Brother Qi, you go and kill the martial saint first. If the martial saint is really powerful, I will have Little Shui release Wang San's silence at any time, and all of us will join the battle. If we can't achieve this, I believe that with Brother Qi abilities, it would be easy for you to lure the martial saint to kill me. This time, Brother Qi can rest assured. I have planned so much, I won't be a pawn for others. All right. Du Ji looked at Mr. Zhao upstairs, too lazy to continue arguing with him. He nodded and looked at Xiao Pingzhang, asking, when will the martial saint revive? When there is enough blood, he will naturally revive. Qiao Pingzhong said, the Qiao family only knows the specific steps of execution, but we don't know how Qiao he was revived in the end. But the simulation field needs an ultimate boss, so he will definitely revive. Both sides tacitly didn't dwell on the keywords. They had reached the final level, and what their keywords were didn't matter as much anymore. And besides, everyone present had their own ulterior motives, so the keywords they said were also fake. It was meaningless to ask or not ask. Feng Zhong glared at Mr. Zhao upstairs, a hint of hostility flashing in his eyes, as if he wanted to remember his appearance. He was also suppressed by silence and couldn't regain his ability to speak. Du Ji no longer paid attention to the people on the tower, but looked towards the direction of the courtyard. The courtyard had just witnessed a bloodbath, with rivers of blood flowing and the destruction caused by Sang Yan, shattering the bodies into pieces and splattering blood everywhere. But at this moment, whether it was the walls or the blood on the ground, it was slowly seeping into the ground. During their conversation, the courtyard had almost lost all its red hue. Meanwhile, Du Ji's ears picked up a faint heartbeat emanating from about 10 meters underground. As time passed, the heartbeat grew faster and stronger. Thump! 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 It was like someone was drumming beneath the ground. Eventually, the entire ground began to tremble with the heartbeat. The loose tiles on the roof were shaken off, falling to the ground and making a crisp sound. Through the eyes at the back of his head, Du Ji clearly saw the tension among the people on the tower. Mr. Zhao pursed his lips, it's coming. Du Ji looked at Feng Zhong and Wang San, instructing, you two stay here and don't move. Brother Qi, I'll go with you. Wang San tried to speak, but no sound came out. He was so anxious that he kept gesturing with his hands. I'll go too. Feng Zhong said silently. No, you two wait here, don't worry about me, just keep an eye on the guy upstairs. Du Ji smiled, not avoiding Mr. Zhao, and said directly, we've worked hard to get the results we have now, don't let someone else take advantage of us at the last minute. Feng Zhong was stunned, then nodded heavily, saying silently, I will. Wang San also nodded in agreement. Brother Qi, you're too cautious. At this juncture, you're the main combat force. How could I possibly harm you? Mr. Zhao shook his head helplessly, I would need to have that ability. Before he could finish his sentence, a loud boom echoed. Dirt flew up in the courtyard, rising more than 5 meters high, and the wooden window lattices shattered with a crash. A figure shot up into the sky, accompanied by a wild laugh, ha ha ha, I fucking knew this would work, I'm the number one in the simulation field, everyone else will die. Upon hearing this, everyone present changed their expressions. Qiao Pingzhong, who had prepared to say ancestor, swallowed his words back into his throat, replacing them with, holy shit, someone actually possessed that mummy.